Come on, start. Let the go show.
Beginning.
Is Janet from another planet? 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 Is Janet from another planet?
Today's digital landscape with the spread of false information can lead to dangerous outcomes. It's crucial for everyone to think critically and verify sources and reflect on the impact of what they share. Let's promote responsible communication to ensure that truth prevails and actions remain rooted in reality.
The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
The following program is rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Friday Night Shit Show with me and my crazy panel. So say thank you for joining me tonight, Ruben. How are you?
Hello. I'm okay. God, it's been tiring. I had the funeral. And then I went to the hospital, got out, and now I'm planning to travel to Texas as soon as I can because my brother needs me down there. He's had a stroke. He's doing better now, and his baby son has leukemia. Well, not baby, 8 years old. And he's going through chemotherapy and hopefully getting remission and everything's okay with him. And it's just a lot of going on. So I'm just tired. It's been rough. But you got to stay positive.
If you need to, if you need to leave early, that's fine. I understand.
Yes.
But thank you very much for joining us this evening, because it's always got a lot of shit to talk about on Friday Night Shit Show. Yep. And thank you for joining me again, Richard. Really appreciate you.
I hope you don't mind. I'm simulcasting on my channel too.
No, that's fine. That's why I have it set up. I paid for that, so everybody can do it. So if Chris had one, I'd want him to do it too. but he doesn't. But thank you. And thank you, Chris, for joining us again tonight after last night, having to put up with me all night. So
thanks for having me.
Another night. But you're welcome. We've got a lot of shit on our plate, it seems like.
Before we go,
tonight.
I've got a question for Chris.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Chris, is that a Cowboys jersey you're wearing?
Yeah, well, the first preseason game was last night, and I wore this as a memory to how stupid the Dallas Cowboys are because they traded the number one defensive player in the NFL and then didn't make the playoffs. And the team they gave them to damn near made it. So yeah.
The reason why I'm asking is I got to make sure my little sister's not watching because she'll beat you up and steal it. And trust me, the rabid spider monkey, depending on how much wacky weed she's smoking, she could do it. I mean, you could throw her at Delta Force and SEAL Team 6, and she'd kick all their butts just to take one Cowboys jersey. Yeah, that's cool. So I got to make sure that she's not here watching. Okay.
That's funny. This shirt is actually, this is so funny because this was ordered for me as a gift, and the person doing it was drunk. You know how sometimes it'll keep like leaving the submit payment button up there, and she did it 3 times. So when this one came, there was 2 other ones, and I gave a couple away.
No,
kind of
like
funny.
I said, she's obsessed with the Cowboys. She's been obsessed with them ever since she was knee high to a grasshopper. And
So one of my dad's best friend when we lived in Dallas, when my dad was at Parkland Memorial, he was the orthopedic surgeon for the Cowboys, and his next door neighbor was Mel Renfro, and Mel Renfro had a kid my age, and we used to play football in Mel Renfro's yard, and we used to get to go like be water boys at practice and shit. So I'm like a lifer for the Cowboys for that reason, because I got to really be around them and get to know them and do things for them. And then in 93 to 95, I went to church with Joe Avezzano, who was the Cowboys special teams coach. And my sister was the boyfriend of Emmitt Smith's roommate in Florida.
Yeah.
So I was around him, again, I was around him in the 70s as a little boy. And then I was around him again in when I was in my 30s. So I have a love affair with Dallas. I mean, 1-15 or 15-1. I love them like a family thing.
oh, sweet.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started, you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Back in January, I played this gentleman, and he was I was on one of the shit shows, and he was at Walmart telling people you need to weigh your meat. Any meat that you get from the meat department, take it to the produce department and weigh it, because Walmart is mislabeling things, and he thinks it was on purpose, so that you're paying way more. He said he had like a ham and a couple other things, and it was like 2 pounds under what you're paying for. And he said, and if you don't weigh it yourself, how are you going to know whether or not you're getting ripped off? Well, he is back on again, because apparently he's causing a ruckus for Walmart. It says he warned Walmart in January and they refused to act. Corporate giants caught charging double for half the food. A regular American patriot named Jimmy Rigg credit for this video that he did what our broken regulatory agencies refused to do back in January. So he's talking about him using the digital scale or whatever. So I'm gonna play him again so you can hear an update of what's still going on with Walmart. So here we go.
You want me to leave? You want me to put these back? I'll go back. Okay. Well, the point is, you know that they're on their way to the pack. All right. But are you gonna? Nobody. The last time they put them back in there. All right.
So he's kicking me out. 100 grams. 100 grams. This one right here is supposed to weigh 5.50, 5.5 pounds. 5.25. So this styrofoam tray weighs about 1.5 ounces. And then you drain the water out. You're going to find 2 and 3 ounces of water. You take this chicken out of this package and weigh it by itself. It's going to be more than 1/2 pound short. This one's almost 1/4 pound short. 4.98. 4.77. 5.56. 5.35. 5.36. 5.1. Let's weigh some on their scale so nobody says we're lying. 5.34. 5.21. 5.38. That's 5.56. I can only do about half. I'm gonna get kicked out of here. I stopped before I got here, but I did these. So look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 that were on weight or a little bit over. And all those over there are underweight. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's almost 50%. So how many are there across the country? This is appalling. All right. So I was asked to leave. When I was here earlier, the employees, because nobody was here, put them back. I told him about it, and now he's just throwing them back in there too.
Yeah, they don't want to do anything. So the thing is, what's important is that you, when you shop, you're aware of this and share this with other people, because here we are trying to make sure that we can feed our families, and big giant corporation that makes billions of dollars a year isn't even trying to make sure that their product they're selling is even what they're supposed to be selling, you know, for the price that they're charging. So we have to do it. Okay, we have to be responsible and do the best we can to make sure that we are buying or getting what we pay for. That's what I'm put that. That's why I wanted to open and start off with this one, because I think it's important. But I just wanted to share that again, because I've shared him a few times, and he's brave to do that, because they'll get to where they recognize his face and they won't even let him in their store anymore, which is sad, simply because he's trying to make sure that the customers aren't ripped off.
When I was the third shift manager at the Food Lion, we would have people from the county coming in and weighing stuff up on third shift to make sure everything was above the board back in the day. So has that changed in the past 20 years?
Well, the thing is, how many times do you go into a store and you're trying to find something? Okay, you need one item or something, and you're trying to find it, and it used to be over here, but now you can't find it. So you're asked for help, and they go, well, I don't know where it is. You know, they don't even want to help you. There's no such thing as customer service, it doesn't seem like. So you wander around, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll just go straight to the front desk, you know, where you can cash checks and stuff like that, and say, I'm here and I've asked 3 employees and nobody can tell me where this item is. Can you help me? And then they'll get on this little unit and they'll type it in, and they're able to you know, find the item and tell me what aisle to go to. So it's just really sad that we have no customer service anymore, and it's just really hard to be able to get anybody to help you. So I just wanted to share that so you guys can get a chance to make sure that you're not getting ripped off. Okay, so keep an eye on what you are buying and how much you're paying for it, and make sure you're getting what you asked for. So don't pay for something if you're not giving it to you. So that's the first thing I wanted to open with. And this next one I thought was important because I've played this before, and I've played it a couple of times simply because it's the truth. And he basically got treated like dirt when he first did it. It's David Nunes. Okay, and he's vindicated now, and I'm going to play the same video when he came out on April 17th, 2017, when he came out and gave this. It sounds like he's doing it today. So here we go. I'm going to play it for you.
Good morning, or good afternoon, everyone. I recently confirmed that on numerous occasions, the intelligence community incidentally collected information about U.S. citizens involved in the Trump transition. Details about U.S. persons associated with the incoming administration, details with little or no apparent foreign intelligence value, were widely disseminated in intelligence community reporting. Third, I have confirmed that additional names of Trump transition team members were unmasked. And fourth, and finally, I want to be clear, none of the surveillance was related to Russia or the investigation of Russian activities or of the Trump team. The House Intelligence Committee will thoroughly investigate surveillance and its subsequent dissemination to determine a few things here that I want to read off. Who was aware of it? Why it was not disclosed to Congress? Who requested and authorized the additional unmasking? Whether anyone directed the intelligence community to focus on Trump associates, and whether any laws, regulations, or procedures were violated. I've asked the directors of FBI, NSA, and CIA to expeditiously comply with my March 15th letter that you all received a couple weeks ago, and to provide a full account of these surveillance activities. I informed Speaker Ryan this morning of this new information, and I will be going to the White House this afternoon to share what I know with the President and his team. Before I get to questions, I want to say that, as you know, there's just been what appears to be a terrorist attack in the United Kingdom. Obviously, very concerned, and our thoughts and prayers go out to our strong friends and allies over across the pond. I have seen intelligence reports that clearly show that the President-elect and his team were, I guess, at least monitored and disseminated out intelligence. And what appears to be raw, or I shouldn't say raw, but intelligence reporting channels.
So, did you guys seen this video before, haven't you?
Yes.
So, if they did this now, people would say, oh, you know, because it's all coming out. But it's the fact that we have a media that doesn't want to share truth with people because of the Smith-Mundt. I feel that's one of the reasons why.
No, they tell the truth. But here's how this goes. Let's say you want to have a one world government and one world community, and that's your goal. And that's pretty much what, you know, the World Economic Forum, it was their agenda. And the World Economic Forum was very much behind Obama. Mm-hmm. Now, you would never see that reported in America as, oh my God, what the hell are they getting away with? But where you would see it is on Al Jazeera or on DW News or some left-wing radical foreign country. And the way they did it is, look what we got away with this time. And so that's where really the intent on all of this comes from. I mean, what's the irony, right? That Donald Trump was fooling around with Russia and doing all this kind of stuff with him. And now the Democratic Party are basically Russians. It's like, it's so comical, you know, you got to laugh at it, right? How's it even still going on?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what the thing is, I'm shocked at how few Americans actually even know half of what I know. And I've been talking about it since it happened in 2020. And I've watched hundreds and hundreds of videos. But the thing is, I feel because I worked the polls, okay, many times in 2 different states. And when I saw some of the videos that came out here and there, and some I got specifically from different groups that I was in my YouTube friends and stuff, and on Discord, that the only reason I saw it is because I'd worked the polls, and I could tell blatantly that a person with a stack of ballots writing on them, each one of them, was illegal. Because if I got caught doing that where I've worked the polls, I probably would have arrested. You know, it's just ridiculous. But a lot of people have no clue. They go in, they vote, and they leave. They have no idea how it works, how they're counted, or how they're supposed to be counted, or anything. And that's why I always tell people, if you get a chance to go and work the polls, they pay you. It's very little, but they do pay you for your time. And you can sit there and they train you how to do it, and then you're there for the day, and then you count the ballots at the end of the night, and then you go home. But you get to see how the whole process works. So the next time when you see something irregular that someone shows you, you would be able to say, yeah, that isn't supposed to happen. So I don't know. I just want more people to realize that there were people trying to tell us the truth from the very beginning, trying to share the information. And as he said, they had it already collected. Okay, they already had all this stuff collected, but the people that were involved made sure it didn't get to see the light of day. And that all the people that said anything, just like what happened with Giuliani, multiple attacks on, I don't remember what her name is, the woman that was talking with Giuliani, she got arrested also. A bunch of people got arrested for it. That poor lady in Arizona that went to prison, all these people in America, this happened. This isn't Europe, this is in America.
Do you
So,
remember do you remember the little psyop they put all of us on during that time?
which
We
one?
were literally we were posting on Facebook, posting on Twitter at the time, whatever it was. We go, yeah, deplorable. I'm a proud deplorable. They
Oh, that's
literally
right.
minimized us to
Mhm.
thinking that was the narrative. And so what they were doing with that deplorable shit is they're going around the world making America look like shit. So they can put those articles on Al Jazeera. We got them this time. Oh, you cannot deny that this wasn't planned when you see how the media was handled. And I could go over the stupid psyops they've been laying on people that going back to 2000 and probably 6, and literally name the main ones where they use social media to literally stun anyone who would want to or could do anything about what was going wrong. And I don't know how people have been falling for that so long.
I
Right?
don't
People
know.
that repeat shit that's not true in social media and all that. It's like you're feeding the problem.
Yeah, well, Richard, I saw your hand come up. What do you want to interject? Can't hear you. Turn on your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Do you guys remember when they had the Department of Misinformation with the little Miss Mary Poppins
I
bit?
do. I do now that you brought that up. Yes, I remember that.
Okay. The fact that they had her out there doing this shit
Hmm.
is it proved to me that it was them going back to their old ways of you're doing this because it's what we're doing. We know you're not actually doing it, but we've got to accuse you of it.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, that's what, whenever the Democrats accuse the Republicans of doing anything nowadays, that's because it's exactly what they're doing. And it scares the bejesus out of me. And I can't put it any other way than that.
Yeah, it's scary stuff. And the thing is, though, it's making me feel pretty good about things unfolding because finally it's coming out. Little here, little there, but more and more actual news reports, people presenting facts. I'm seeing it on lots more platforms and more people actually speaking out loud about it. And that makes me feel good because but I'm going to wait. I'm waiting till the stuff starts lining up and then people start getting indicted and then we start seeing arrests or whatever. Then I'm going to start saying, well, to the people that totally told me I was an idiot and I'm so stupid, I got my head up Trump's ass and all the other shit. And I'm going to say, well, where's my apology? That's what I can't wait for because I don't normally do that. But with this, when it comes to something to me that is so important for our country and our freedom of our children and our grandkids, right? Oh, hold on. I gotta cancel this thing so I can bring Ruben up. To me, it's important that we have that because to finally be told, wow, it was all true, when I already knew it was. And most of the people that I spend time with also know it's true. See, because I spend most of my time with people that have common sense and actually pay attention and think for themselves.
Yeah, it's like the Wuhan flu coming from the Wuhan lab.
Yeah.
And not the wet market.
Yeah,
That got to me.
A little bit of that's going to be coming in tonight too. So I've got a little bit of here and there, just different things, because basically, like I said, it's our fight to win. That's what I wanted the name of the show to be, because the only way we're going to lose this is if we just say, oh, well, it's not my problem, and just sit back like most people want to do. because they're tired of listening to it, or they just want to move on. But you can't move on if we don't prosecute people, because we're leaving this mess for our kids. What are we leaving for them? I don't want to do that. And I don't think anyone else that I know that has families and stuff wants to do that either. So is there anything you would like to say about what we were talking about? Anyone else before I bring up the next subject, or not? Okay,
Well, just one last thing. It's all about perspective. The idea that you were talking about, serving in your community, and that's what you have to do. You have to start off with, yourselves. Take care of yourself, love your family, love your home, love your community. That's why you get involved at the local level. If you want to go outside of the box and do anything, that's the way to do it. But to stay sane, you at least need to, be prepared. Like you say, you want to be, they're going to come get you and get you on your porch with a shotgun. You're there. So you protect what's important to you. So that's what's the most important thing to look for.
Everyone should do that, though. Everyone should protect what's there.
I know, but so that's where the focus should be. The focus should be on yourself and your home. Yeah.
100%. I agree with that.
And
well,
the part that
oh, go ahead.
One of the things that gets me is that so many of the people that are in the education department, it's like Marcelo put in my chat, that thanks to the universities and all the public schools, they've stopped teaching civics to our kids. And I'm sorry, they taught civics when I was in high school. We had civics in 9th grade because you had civics, you also had gun safety and driver's ed. That was all 9th grade. And part of our civics classes was to understand how the system is supposed to work, how you're supposed to go vote, how it gets counted, and all the little nuances, so you can understand it. And they put it to where any idiot can understand it, and they just don't teach it no more. My niece and my nephews have told me this many times, and they'll bring their friends over and they'll ask me a question, and then I will give them a history lesson or a civics lesson. And the whole time they've got their little artificial brain Googling what I'm telling them. And as they're realizing I'm telling them the truth, the looks on their faces is amazing. And they asked me how I knew about all this. And I said, well, first off, a lot of this they taught me in school that they're not teaching you now. But I also like to read, and I like to watch documentaries. You need to learn something new every day, or your day's been a failure. That is how I look at life. Being a cripple means I've got a lot of time. So guess what I do with it? Documentaries on the TV while I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing, and I'm learning. Whenever I see news stories that come up, I go out, I start researching it, I look for multiple sources, and then I track back those sources. Because there's only like 2 or 3 companies that own all of the news anymore. It all flows back to these. So I'm always looking for independent news that can confirm or deny a news story that comes in. And I know that there's people out there that don't have that time. And because I do have that time, I use it for that. And I try to warn people, hey, all these news agencies reporting on this are getting all of their sources from one news source. So I'll track them back to one place. And
Yeah, that's why when you change the channel, they're all like reading the same script. You know what I mean?
Jackie Blue in the chat says we can't trust the news anymore. That's exactly right. And it scares me, but it also goes back to when I came home from Desert Storm and I was talking with my grandfather and my father and my uncles about the stuff that I did while I was in there. And how when I got home, turned the news on, saw how it was being reported, and I'm like, that's not exactly how it happened. And they all looked at me and laughed and said, welcome to the club. And the look on my dad and my uncle's face, because what they went through in Vietnam, it opened my eyes big time. So just keep that in mind. A lot of these news people, back in my day, Walter Cronkite was supposed to be the face of the news. But that chucklehead was just as far left and just as biased as what we've got today. He just had a veneer of neutrality. Notice I said neutrality with finger quotes. Okay, because he wasn't neutral. Look at all the stuff that's been coming out about McCarthy. All right. The one thing bad about McCarthy was that he was wrong because he was underselling just how much the Soviets had infiltrated the United States federal government. When the Soviet Union fell, and we got to go look in the KGB archive, you had all these people that was wanting to make McCarthy this evil thing, and they were going to go audit the KGB archive so they could discredit him forever. Unfortunately for them, they discovered that McCarthy was only wrong in the fact that he lowballed it. That they actually had evidence of the people that he was talking about taking money from the Soviet Union was real. Including Adlai Stevenson and all these big name Democrats that was running for office, had chances of being president, except for the fact McCarthy called him out, showed where the ties were. If I remember right, Razor Fist over on Rageaholic did this expose on Hollywood was always red. And he touched on this. Go check it out. It's a really good video.
Yeah, I like Razor Fist myself too.
And so Janet,
his rants, yes.
I think the first time that real voter fraud happened was the re-election for Woodrow Wilson. The house he was born in is right down the street from where I live, right?
Yeah.
He lost the Georgia election, but he came to Georgia, and the next day he won the Georgia election. That's why he became the president. Okay, so then I want to go on to some of what Spake was just saying about MK Ultra wasn't the only program. And so they started Project Mockingbird. There's a really good movie about that with a young Robert Redford in it. You should go watch it. And then what you were saying about you got to get out and vote. And Ruben said it, grassroots, you got to do this. Well, President Trump, I don't know if it's aired to a lot of conservative people, but I watch leftist media because I want to know what they're talking about. Me too. Right? Me too. And so Trump did an interview with a leftist media group today, and listen to the significant things that he said. He said, if we don't win these midterms, I may be the last Republican president ever in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about, how whether he talked about specifically the Michigan issue. He's like, well, they lay down and blah, 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 right? Well, then I flipped over and I'm looking at something else. And this a political analyst who I really respect, been around forever. And he said that he had spoken with everybody on the ground in Michigan, and that most of the people who voted for Perry and not El Sayed made publicly known at the polling houses, if this guy doesn't win, I don't think I can vote for Al Sayed. So he wins the primary with 48% because the little candidates ate up Perry's votes, which is that's political chess is what that is. But he gets the election. But the problem is 52% of the people, a large number of them are like, I can't vote for him. So they're either not going to vote in the midterms or they're going to vote Republican. Right. So you got that shift going on. Now after they had that conversation, now they're going to New York to see the same thing. Now that you see who Mom Donnie is and all this kind of stuff, are you still willing to vote for these people? But to the last thing I wanted to say is we all have operatives in each other's countries. Mm-hmm. Right? You could say whatever you want to. I mean, for Christ's sake, we went over through Honduras and fucked Honduras up. We've been all over the world and really fucked up a lot of countries. Right? So and I've been to some of those places. Mm-hmm. So you can't really talk about this, what Russia's doing, blah, blah, blah. We've had China doing it since the 40s. We've had Russia doing it since the 40s.
Yeah, every country does it.
And then, the whole Islamic thing. I mean, it wasn't even legal. It wasn't even legal for them to be here before 1952. And a lot of people don't know that.
Well, one thing I wanted to add to what you guys were saying was, we got to remember that when Hillary was going against Trump, if it hadn't been for the record turnout of so many people basically just going to vote to make sure Hillary Clinton didn't win, they just wanted to vote against her, right, is the reason why Trump won. Because I think Hillary felt she didn't really have to work that hard because the fix was already in. The moment Podesta told her that she lost on stage, the look on her face, the way she reacted, I knew in my gut that she thought something bad happened to her because she expected to win. And she thought, heads are going to roll. If I go down, you're going down with me. That was basically what, the gist of what she was saying when she was going off the stage because she was so pissed off. And she said, fuck you to all the people sitting in the audience, basically, that were there to root her on, instead of saying, it's okay, you guys did a great job, or any of that shit. She didn't do none of that because she's what she is, a bitch, basically. I can't stand her. And that's my opinion. And I have
You're lucky you've never been in the room with her.
I have. That's what I could say for sure, as I'm in the state of Arkansas and my parents didn't vote for her either, and they lived here. So I'm telling you right now, that is not a good person. She has never been
the one time
decent that I know
of. I met her and did not know who the heck she was until afterwards. All I know is there was this blonde-haired lady screaming at me, demanding to know why I was wearing a military uniform in her beep, 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 White House while I was there to deliver some paperwork.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that story. Yeah, 'cause that's her. That is the true Hillary that most people didn't get to see, and they did a good job at covering her ass for her. But I want to get on to this next thing now, because I got quite a few things I want to talk about this evening, if we can. This whole thing, as it says, it's a treason supposedly unraveling in real time. Isn't the mother of all coincidences. What if the uranium that Hillary Clinton sold to Russia while she was Secretary of State somehow ended up in Iran's nuclear stockpile right after Obama shipped them plane loads of cash? The enriched uranium Iran just surrendered. If forensic tests match to the uranium-1 batch, game over. That's what they're saying. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. But everybody remembers that, don't you?
Yeah.
The uranium-1 thing. But here we go. Let's see what they have to say here.
President Trump just got on Air Force One for a quick trip to Arizona for an event that we'll see later on today. He didn't take any questions, but he just told CBS News, he basically explained why it is that he is so confident a deal is about to be closed with the Iranians. He says that they have agreed to let United States, not troops, just somebody from the United States, go into Iran with some Iranian officials to collect leftover uranium, what he calls the nuclear dust, and then bring it back somewhere to the United States. That has been the key to all of this. The president earlier today disputed a report in Axios that the U.S. might unfreeze $20 billion in Iranian money in exchange for getting them to fork over all this uranium. He says not a dollar will be exchanged in any way. So we will definitely hear more about this once he gets to Arizona, but there's a lot happening, and it is possible that he doesn't want to get ahead of his team who are talking directly to Tehran.
So I thought that whole angle was pretty interesting. So I would like to hear what you guys think. Do you guys, I know for a fact, because I know a few people that do work in the nuclear industry that said that you can detect the isotopes and some other stuff in the uranium about where it came from.
They tag it.
Yeah. So what do you guys think is going to happen if we find out? Because remember, Hillary Clinton is the one that paid for the PP dossier, right? That Trump was in bed with Russia. And here we got Hillary with uranium-1 working a deal with Russia. And then we find out the pallets of cash that got sent over in the middle of the night from Obama and all that nasty shit that people just kept trying to sweep under the rug. But remember, Obama had already updated the Smith-Mundt Act so that you couldn't prosecute the media when they didn't tell the truth. And
well, remember, here's something that most people don't remember. All right, when we went into Iraq, and all these people saying, "Oh, they didn't have weapons of mass destruction, they didn't have uranium," blah 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 blah. They keep ignoring the fact the United States got slammed and fined by the United Nations for when we went in there, we found 300 metric tons of yellow cake uranium. We landed C-130s in the middle of the fracking desert where they found it, loaded it up, and got it the hell out of there. Now, another thing that they don't like talking about, when we went in there, we found the Iraqis wearing American-made mop suits and gas masks, and we tracked those numbers. Were all gear that we sold to France, who turned around and sold it to Iraq. Every one of those command officers, general officers in Iraq, were given the statement that this other general officer had the ability to launch all of their chemical and biological weapons stockpiles that they had. And they were all expecting this other general that pushed the button. And when this all came out, nobody wanted to talk about it. Now, I'm going to tell you my educated opinion on where those weapons of mass destruction disappeared to, and that's Syria. Because everybody was wondering where the terror twins disappeared. They went to Syria, and I have a feeling they took with them those weapons of mass destruction with them. And we told the Syrians, we'll let you keep them and destroy them, but you're going to give us the terror twins. And the Syrians kicked their butts out and said, they're right there. They're right there. Go get them. And that's how we found the terror twins and took their little happy nappy butts out. Sorry, that's a big bugaboo of mine because I trained guys as chemical, biological, radiological warfare specialists. Some of the people I trained died over there by going in and having to disarm IEDs that were utilizing artillery shells that were chemical weapons. And because these idiots didn't realize just setting it off wasn't going to do anything. It had to be flying through the air so it would spin and mix.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, these chemicals were concentrated. It hit their suit, burned through their suit, hit them, and killed them. And those are some good kids. And people saying that wasn't there just really upsets me. And then we got to see this happening with the uranium that they've got there in Iran. Burns my butt. If it does turn out that was uranium that we had turned around and sold or gave to the Russians, and then it ended up in there under Hillary Clinton's watch.
Mm-hmm. Gonna be a lot of pissed off people.
Vlad the Impaler, let's do what Vlad the Impaler did to her and her entire staff who set that shit up.
Because remember, it was during this whole time too, wasn't it, that the Operation Fast and Furious was going on, and we found out it was our own weapons.
Yep, that killed those border guards.
Because we were doing some kind of swapping back and forth to selling our own weapons to the cartel over the border. So, a lot of that shit was going on. But see, they didn't talk about that stuff either on the news.
Well, y'all are talking about the 90s and 2000s.
Yes.
Let me tell you what pisses me off sideways. Go to 2020. First day in office, executive order in the Dakota pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Stop American oil production off coast. Stop American oil production everywhere. Now, Trump's got the oil industry running like crazy. We were paying $1.87 a gallon. All of a sudden, we're not producing oil. And where's it all coming from? Muslim countries. So basically, they duped us into every time we got in our car and drove, we were funding the very terrorism trying to take this country down. And that's a more important issue for us to look at right now. Trump is trying to undo this. Right. And there is turmoil in the petroleum business everywhere. But what he did with Venezuela sent their oil to Iran, and Iran sold it back to us. Right. So if you don't understand all of that, then you don't realize how often think about every time somebody buys, like, not California weed, Mexican weed, South American weed, South American Coke. These people fucking hate us. They're the ones who don't want police forces. They're the ones who go talk to their side of the aisle. Oh, yeah, police, they're mean, they're this. They're like, yeah, you just killed 10 people with bad drugs. If we shoot you, tough shit. Right? No, they don't want cops. Right? Every bit of that. So you got what goes back to what I was saying a minute ago. We got Islam, we got China, we got Russia, we got people there. Right? It's the nature of how the world works. But when they have you paying for their weapons against you, you think people are dumb? Shit. That reality right there should make everybody step back and go, what the fuck? Why wasn't I bitching about this in 2009? Why wasn't I bitching about it in the 90s? It's like a frog getting boiled. And they boiled us to where we were so stupid we funded their war against us.
Because
to the point of a plane president taking $6 billion in a fucking plane. Think about it.
Look at this. Okay. Trump wanted to refill the strategic oil reserve, and the Democrats that controlled Congress refused to allow him to do it. We were producing enough of our own oil. We could have double filled the strategic oil reserve. We were selling our oil on the international market, and it was bringing down oil and gas prices like that. Because the more oil you have out there, the lower the prices is going to be. When they closed the Keystone pipeline, my own sister sitting there going, oh, that's not going to, wouldn't have affected the oil because it wouldn't have been coming to us. And I'm like, Nadine, every drop of oil that's on the open market does what to the price of oil across the board? It lowers it. It's supply and demand. When there's more oil out there, when there's more supply than there is demand, the price does what? Oh my God, it goes down. It's when you cut the supply and the demand stays high that the price goes up.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da! That's basic economics.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't going to pull this one up yet, but since you brought that up, because it usually works that way. We start talking about one thing because I try to make it to where we're leading into the next story all by discussing things, right?
Mhm.
And you brought it right up because this is what I was going to talk about in a minute, but we'll do it now. It says it's been exposed that the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve has been destroyed by the Biden administration.
Mhm.
With one site left inoperable, forcing President Trump to clean up the mess and surge investments to fix everything. Okay, it says the previous administration also left one of the 4 sites where they can't even use it. This has forced Trump to have to invest more money to move equipment that blocked access to the site. They purchased equipment and left it on site and did not install it. Some of that equipment, due to the weather it has been exposed to, is no longer useful. We've completely wasted taxpayer dollars on the equipment that the last administration sat on surface and didn't install. They also
Same
failed
thing.
to maintain some of the sites. But yeah, I have this this video
The same
right
thing
here.
happened to the wall materials that they left out in the middle of the desert. Where they were building the wall, and they had all the equipment and materials to finish working on the wall, and the Biden administration refused to do it and let it sit there. There were people that were actually showing up and selling that stuff that was sitting out there.
Yeah, all you
And
got to do is walk through any Democrat city and tell me that they care about not wasting. When you see tent cities as far as you can go, you're stepping over human poo-poo, needles, and all kinds of nasty stuff in the street. And the taxpayers from that state are paying for those people to live in the streets.
Well,
And
a
get
friend of
massages and get their feet rubbed and do all this stuff and have somebody bringing them fresh needles to shoot up with and all that, all paid for by the taxpayers.
one of
And
my one of the
blame
people
Trump for it.
one of the people I served with, his family is from California.
Yeah.
They'd been in California almost as long as my family. You know,
Yeah.
his family had been in California since before it was California, basically. And he was talking about the fact that he had to up and move his entire family out. That it was like, he said, it was like pulling teeth from a rooster to get his grandparents to agree to sell everything and get the heck out of California. And the only reason why they went ahead and did it was because one of their grandbabies uh, got stuck by one of those needles.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, nope, we're done. Because when a toddler is screaming, holding their hand up because they got a needle sticking through their hand, that's what it took, because they didn't want to believe that California had been lost. And sadly, California is one of those places I wish we could do the cartoon thing, break out the saw,
Well, it's like
and push it into the water.
Escape from LA,
Yeah.
Escape from New York, basically, are coming true. I mean, we'll just have to wall them up and just put all the prisoners and stuff in there and let them fend for themselves. I mean,
Well, consider the fact that these are the places where they keep saying they want to abolish the police. They want to abolish the prisons and all this other stuff. Why not? You don't believe in the cops no more. We'll take the cops. You don't believe in prisons no more. We'll give you all of our prisoners. Just keep them keep them there. Don't let them come out.
I heard the funniest take on that shit. This lady was on, I can't remember. I think she was on with, Sonia Gonzalez from Dallas. And this lady, like, she's high up in Trump circle. And she said, well, they want to get rid of police. And the suburbs pay the taxes that pay those police. And if they quit paying, it's not going to change their life. They never see a cop. They never see one. But it will cause wars in the inner cities that will basically add up to a genocide. And if that hit me, I was like, ooh, I like to hear a new perspective that opens my eyes to something. You know, what you call it? Ali Tabov or whatever his name is. He has a thing where he talks about Islam. And one of his recent videos, he said, Islam always implodes on itself. And he would basically explain that, but it didn't sink into my head.
Well, Sarah Gonzalez over on the Blaze has been covering the stuff that Bruce had posted about the mosque in Texas and the fight to keep Shara out of Texas.
Yeah, I've played a few different interviews with different people about the mosques before they even started building this one new Islamic center that's like 400 and something acres, huge, a huge one. And they're still battling over that one area. The names are so similar, it's hard for me to remember them all because all their little Islamic centers are, got weird names that I can't pronounce. But I'm going to play this video real quick and then we can talk about that. But let me make sure it's turned up. Here we go.
But the fact is, the reason the U.S. cannot release more out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is that it's at a 43-year low right now. The Biden administration drained it of 180 million barrels before the midterm elections in 2022 and never fully refilled it. In a Fox Business exclusive, the current Energy Undersecretary managing SPR site says the previous administration also left one of the 4 sites inoperable. Under the Undersecretary tells me that this forced the Trump administration to invest more money to move equipment that blocked access to that site.
They purchased equipment and left it on surface and did not install it. Some of that equipment, due to the weather it was exposed to, is no longer useful. So we've completely wasted taxpayer dollars on that equipment that the last administration sat on surface and didn't install. They also failed to maintain some of the sites.
He tells me that he believes the last administration had no long-term plan to maintenance and work on those strategic petroleum sites. The Trump administration is now trying to do it. And Harris, on that refilling, there's a swap program they're doing. So they are refilling the SPR after the release happens.
The thing is that everything, since I can remember, I've never seen Democrats do anything. Everything that they do is like off the back of someone else. If they can't get the money to do this, that, or the other from someone else, not out of their little pot, then they don't do it. They could care less. And when they do get the money, they say, well, we need to put some money aside to make sure that the frogs and the mosquitoes or whatever, that might be injured while they're repairing this oil thing. You see what I mean? They never just take the money for what they've been told it's supposed to be spent on and spend it on that. They always have to put it on something else or make sure they have more than what they need to make sure they can pay themselves for doing such a great job, get that money. I don't know what it is. I've never seen any Democrat city, anything that they've done where it was actually successful. They can't build railways. They can't do anything without wasting money. And then we wonder why a hammer costs $800.
That's because of the graft and corruption that they put into it.
It's gotten so bad that I don't know how. I really feel sorry for all these people, even though they're getting paid and this is their job. But the people in this administration that are trying to just put the big holes, something in all these holes to stop the water from flowing out, and then try to say, okay, we got to get this person here, we got to get that person there, we got to get all these people to do this, that, and the other. Then once they start fixing it, then they got to stop the money from going to the USAID, stop the money from going to that, the Medicaid fraud, this, that. There's so much fraud just to stop it. And then we got to start getting the evidence so we can prosecute people that were doing it. So it's like,
Well, look at
forever.
what's going on with the DNC right now.
Mhm.
They're having to put their headquarters up for Hawk to get a loan to be able to do the midterm elections. All because they've been having massive problems with fundraising and getting their money in ever since we shut the doors of USAID.
I know.
And all these other organizations that had federal money going out. And ever since, the Democrat Party's been having money liquidity issues, and which is really weird considering the fact you've got all these multi-billionaires and gazillionaires out there that all support the Democrat Party. Anytime somebody runs for a Democrat runs for office, they're doing this to them. You know, it's like, let's make it rain. Come over here and let me stick it in your G-string. You know?
Yep.
And so they should be swimming in money with the amount of billionaires that have been doing this. Look at fracking Bernie Sanders. Dude was always bitching about millionaires and billionaires until he became a millionaire.
He has multiple homes.
Yes.
He still bitches about millionaires.
And these chuckleheads, they've got so fracking much money, it's not even funny. The only bad thing about Nancy Pelosi's retirement is there is a lot of people who was using her as a guide stone for what to invest in. And I feel sorry for those people because they were like, I'm making a killing by just mirroring all of her purchases and stuff when it comes to it.
Didn't they start a special little app or something that's Nancy
Yes.
Pelosi's gambling or whatever stock thing, and people were actually downloading it to follow it because she made so much money doing it. They
And
thought,
people
well,
started doing investing in the same stuff she did so they could make the same money the same way she was.
terrible.
And one of the guys was like, damn it, I just learned of this and just started doing it and started making money, and now she's retiring, and I'm not going to be able to keep up with, be able to invest in my own retirement plan now. And I'm like, dude, I feel for you. I just learned of it, but I didn't have one of those little artificial brain thingies to put the app on so I could do it, you know? And yeah, that's another one of those, if I don't laugh, I'm going to start crying moments.
Yeah, well,
You know,
there's a lot of those. Go ahead.
If you look at the entire global picture, in today's world, you got populists and nationalists. Now, and then you got Islam. So most of these left-wing nut jobs, socialists, right? Basically, Islam says, we'll behead you, throw you off a roof. So they're getting used by Islam to come after the caliphate. And the biggest example of how the populists, who basically want just liberty, just treat your neighbor like yourself, let them worship whatever they want, let's go to the city picnic and drink a beer, right? And that's most of moderate America. But the nationalists who want to just have a free life and let the government pay for everything are literally the ones who set up USAID, who set up all the Medicaid fraud. And then only a few of them get rich. So we already have a socialist wing. I was going to say this after I mentioned about Trump's speech. He may be right that he may be the last Republican president. But there's a future to that. All the rhinos will become the moderate party, and the new left-wing party will just call them socialists. But they don't realize. Think about Mamdani gets his votes, and he's not a socialist. He's a jihadist. He hates Jews. He wants them wiped off the planet. His wife was posting shit about how she loved the 9/11 attacks and America deserved it and blah, blah. It's like, what?
I know. You had Scott Labayo. He went there to confront him, and he ended up having a stroke or a heart attack, and he's still in the hospital because of it, because he was so upset, because he was saying that he was going to do whatever it took to keep Mandami from being at the 9/11 memorials and stuff. So, there's going to be a lot of people that I know that feel the same way as him from New Yorkers that are just having a really hard time dealing with being mayor.
I heard this statement, so-and-so may fall. I don't agree with that. New York has fallen. Chicago has fallen. Now Michigan has fallen. California fell. Washington fell. These are socialist strongholds where a Republican is not even going to get in office. It's just not going to happen. And what Trump was saying was the populace better get their head out of their ass. People don't hate Trump. Everybody loves Trump. They don't like the Republicans who make up the Senate and the House. And that's why they're in danger in their local elections. So, I look at all of them and think, I want to know what my grandchildren are going to end up with. Somehow we got to all figure out how to get along. There's going to be socialism as long as you have a great big huge cities with tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, 1 million people. You have to have a system by which everybody can get fed. It's all just so damn complicated. But here's the other fact I heard today, and it shocked the hell out of me. 2026 is going to be the last election where baby boomers outnumber Gen X and the millennials. Mm-hmm. So the 2028 election, the presidential election coming up, that age group are the ones who love AOC like no other. And they're going to outnumber the populists. Now, people ain't afraid of that shit and understanding what Trump means by I'll be the last, because AOC there won't be a constitution anymore. Right? They'll reenact the Green New Deal made up totally on a bunch of bullshit. Right? They'll get rid of cops. They'll do all this, and we'll be like the Netherlands. Except we got a bunch of uneducated losers from third world countries running around all over the place who are tribal or they're in gangs.
About that, what's going to happen when all these parents die? Okay, that have paid for everything for their kids. Their kids live in their basement, or their parents are the ones that pay for their cell phone. The parents are the ones that pay for their car payment. All that. What's going to happen when those parents are gone? Like you were saying, this generation's passing out, and what's going to happen with those kids? They're going to start throwing tantrums, and who knows what's going to happen, because they're nobody there to pay their bills.
Yeah, I don't know. I get fired up about all of it. I really do. It's like I've been screaming about it since the 90s. Before that, I didn't really care. Once I got in the military and took that oath in front of those Marines, something happened to me. And I did it late in life. I did it at about 30. And, I had been doing stuff really my whole life, helping things that, things. And so when I went in the military, I had that same history with me. And when I saw how corrupt our own military was, I started looking into more things. It's not really that it's so much corrupt, but you have one mindset over here and another mindset over here. And within the competition, they try to outdo each other, and that radicalizes both sides. Instead of looking for a meeting place in the middle, which is really what we lack in American politics right now. There are some things we need. I am totally for, if you got a migrant who comes over here and works, register him and give him a damn ID and take taxes from him, because who votes right? correctly? Motherfuckers that pay taxes.
Yep.
That's who wants to give a shit who's in office. And when you got these like strongholds, we've basically lost to the other side. And I'm saying the other side, we're in a fight for our country. But it takes place now on social media and, you know, Project Mockingbird, which you can't believe a fucking word the media says. If it wasn't for social media, we wouldn't even have a place to talk about all this. So I have grandchildren. They're beautiful, all of them. They're smart. I want them to have the same life I had. And all I can promise them was I had to bust my ass every day to get anything, but it was worth it, right?
Yep.
If you want to succeed, and if you're going to get in that realm, don't be that backstabbing piece of shit that has to tear other people down to get good. Win because you work out the most. Win because you read the most books. Win because you have an open mind and you're willing to talk to people and make these solutions. And this is the world we need. And we're not drifting towards it. We're drifting away. Thank God for Donald Trump. I'm telling you, thank God for him.
One thing that gets me, okay, when my so-called wife and my stepson came from the UK to come here, I went through hell trying to get her here legally. We went up there 8 times to get the paperwork filled out. And each time we went up there, we got told we filled the paperwork out, and and this person told us how to fill it out, and we would fill it out exactly the way that person told us. And then when we came up the next time and handed in that paper, we got told, guess what? You filled it out wrong. I'm like, but we filled it out the exact way that the last person we told us to fill it out told us to fill it out. And instead of the person sitting there with us filling it out and then taking the paperwork, they would always send us away. After 8 times of that, we had enough, and we said, screw it. If they're not going to throw all the illegal Mexicans and Guatemalans and everybody else out, we're not going to worry about it. And that was both Emma and Jack could speak English. They actually spoke real English, not American English. And we went through hell trying to get that done. Now, I was going to be moving to the UK. And when I found out all the crap that I had to, all the loop-de-loops I had to jump through just to move to the UK, I was like, holy crap, I thought it was bad coming here. Then I got into it, and I looked at the immigration policies of other countries to see just how hard it was to move to other countries. Dude, people got it made coming to the United States. It's not that hard to move to the United States legally. And it frustrates me. If you come here and you're not breaking the law and you're trying to make a better life and you're assimilating into the United States, I want you to come. I don't want what we're seeing in Dearborn, Michigan. Have y'all heard about this Jake Lang kid that the Muslims tried to stone him to death because he was holding a sign that said Jesus is king? I can't hear you, Miss Janet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was moving some stuff around. I said, yeah, I heard about that story. But the thing is, that's what they want all over the United States. They want what they have in Dearborn, Michigan, in Texas, in California, in any state, whatever state they can get in, because they want Sharia law. And that's why I think Florida is the only state so far that's done it, that's banned Sharia law from being practiced in their state. So we've got a lot of work to do. But I wanted to go to this next thing, because it has a little bit to do with what you're talking about. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. Is this Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just dropped a truth nuke of the ages. People don't want to admit it. Where ICE goes, rent goes down. So I wanted to play this for you. It was his interview when he was on the Charlie Kirk show. So I'm going to play this real quick. It's not real. It's just a little part of it.
communities when you get, and you know, we don't know what it was it 10, was it 15, was it 25 million illegals? There's no new housing stock. So you saw rents go through the roof. And now the people don't want to admit it, but there are academic studies that show where ICE goes, rents go down.
That's exactly right.
Rents go down.
So
communities, when you...
So it's proving that when you clean up your city and you get all this riffraff out, the people that shouldn't be there and they shouldn't be collecting money that doesn't belong to them, that it helps your communities. I mean, it makes them safer, for one. I 100% agree with that. Because remember, Trump was one of the first ones I heard him say that they're emptying their prisons and telling them to get over the border and get out of here, or we're going to put you back in prison. So, you know, they just cleaned house, and it's less money for them. They're not having to feed them anymore. That's why they didn't want them coming back. They wanted them gone. But thank goodness we had President Trump to help make sure ICE made sure that was taken care of. So I thought that was really interesting that he said that, because, you know, he's the Treasury Secretary too. So he pretty much knows where all the money's going.
Well, Scott Besson is over on Louder with Crowder. They refer to him as Sassy Scott, because when he was over in Europe, man, he was just like psh, 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 to all of them, you know. And he's like, "Oh, you," and just slapping the bejesus out of them.
Well, they deserved it.
And calling their bullshit out. And that's the thing that gets me. All these people that like to say that Trump was a racist, a transphobe, a homophobe, and all this other stuff. Trump has been the first president who has appointed some of the most competent gay people to positions of power and authority, including ambassadorships to countries where being gay will get you killed.
Yeah.
And I'm talking some flamboyantly competent gay dudes have been appointed ambassadors to these countries. So much so that they could...
None of them wore dresses, did they?
Nope. And that's the funny part. I mean, that was the Biden administration, the dude that was in charge of nukes.
They were gay. So that's the difference. Yeah.
Yep. And look at the dude that was stealing women's luggage and wearing their clothes and stuff like that during the Biden years, man. That was messed up shit.
I remember that.
That piece of shit was over the nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, just by the way, on the border stuff, they arrested 1,200 in Georgia today.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, I wanted to share this because a lot of people are saying, is Doge still going at it? Well, yeah. They have a website that you can go to, a Doge website. You just type it in and look it up, and you can see the fraud that they're still uncovering. They're still finding it. It's just not as, you know, newsworthy anymore as it was, because people are like, you know, sick of hearing about all the fraud or whatever. But I thought this was pretty interesting. It says Doge found a VA Department of Veterans Affairs employee who is being paid $8,700 an hour. $380,000 a month. That's roughly $4.5 million a year. So that's amazing. But here we go. I'm going to play this for you because it's just sad that it could get this bad.
Does anybody want a job paying $8,700 an hour? And the job only requires probably about 10 hours of work per week. Because Doge just went into the VA and found that somebody was making that. They found that there was a software engineer who was paid to do light modifications on the website, which takes about 10 hours per week, and they were paying him $380,000 a month to do that, which comes out to roughly about $4.5 million a year. And if you break that down into 10 hours a week of work, that's roughly $8,700 an hour. Yeah, that's not okay. That's my tax dollars. That's your tax dollars. Being paid to someone to do very light modifications to a website for 10 hours a fucking week. There's dudes working on oil rigs, working like fucking 18-hour days that don't even make a fucking fraction of that. And there's somebody being paid to just click, Click. Type. Click. Boom. Done.
And you know how hard it is to get into the bloody VA website? Oh,
Yeah,
hell no. Nope. Nope.
but
Nope.
it's
Nope. Nope.
sickening.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
But
Nope.
the
Nope.
thing
Nope. Nope.
is,
Nope. Nope. Nope.
nobody's talking about it. Nobody talks about all the good things that this administration has done. Just like you just said, because of all the cuts, which means cutting off our tax dollars from going to the USAID and all these other stupid things they have set aside, and this guy getting paid all this money. And then I was talking to a few other people that were saying that one building that they were renting, let's say it was 7 stories, and that they're using 3 stories of this building, and it's for a federal building to do VA stuff or whatever, and they're paying like $500,000 a month or something like that for this, to rent this building. That's so much fraud. That's, you know what it is though, honestly, I don't think they were really playing that money's cut up in certain ways and it's divvied out, you know what I mean, to look like they're paying rent. So them cutting all this off, I don't know if we can just do it and stay in office long enough to clean all this up. Maybe when a real person gets in there that's a Democrat that wants to waste money, it's going to be really hard for them to find a way to steal, because people are going to say, I'm not signing off on that, you know.
Well, the whole thing
Hopefully.
with the VA's website,
Mhm.
I'm not kidding. They added all these new security measures to it. And every time I try to sign into it, I have to go through the process of recertifying my security information, which means I have to have somebody take me to the post office to show them my ID and get a code. And do you know how hard it is for me just to get a ride to go to see my doctors? I have to set that stuff up weeks in advance with my sister to be able to take me to go do stuff.
I know.
And
And a lot
that's
of people have to do that kind of stuff, and they
and
don't seem to care.
and it's ridiculous that they keep pulling this stuff out. It's almost like they're trying to make veterans who don't have that little artificial brain thing lose their minds. Because one of the reasons why I go through all this crap is because I don't have a cell phone. I can't afford it. It's one of those things of I don't use it that often to make it an expense that is worth it to me, you know? And it's so bloody frustrating. And trying to get with your your doctors and everything else. I'm in the process right now trying to get a new primary care physician, because the one I've had since 2016, 2015, she has not been that good of a doctor. She'll say, I'm going to prescribe you this medicine, this medicine, this medicine. I'm going to set you up for this clinic or this clinic and this clinic, and nothing comes about. It's one of the reasons why I've not had a pain clinic in over 10 years. And last month, it was so bad that I could barely get out of bed. My nephew had to come in when it was time to go to see the doctor, and he half carried me to put me in my sister's truck. And then when we got there, I could barely get out of the truck. They put me in a wheelchair and took me in to see the doctor. I was in so much pain. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I was actually contemplating going over there and getting my dad's 38 that he was issued as an auxiliary police officer and putting myself out of everybody's misery. That's how much pain I was in. And I started going to the acupuncturist this month.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
And that's, I didn't think it was going to work, but it did. And I'm actually able to stand up and move around again. And it should not have taken this long. And the fact that the VA, President Trump, at the beginning of the year, put into a policy at the VA that if a doctor or a nurse or any other person that works at the VA had enough complaints about them, they would get fired. When I was at the Asheville VA after my accident, relearning how to walk, there was this one Filipino nurse there.
Mhm.
Okay, this might be a little bit too much information, but it falls into this. Now, most of the time, she would just be sitting in the nurse's lounge playing solitaire on their computer. But whenever a new patient came in onto the ward, she would then be told it's time to do your rounds, and it was only the new patients. Now, for some reason at the time, the VA had this thing where they took away your catheters. So they were doing in and out caths, which is where they take a tube, stick it up Mr. Happy into your bladder and relieve your bladder,
Yeah.
which can be quite painful when done badly.
Hmm.
This woman was doing it purposefully badly to cause the most amount of pain she possibly could to a very sensitive part of the human body. Now, she would do this every time until the patients would complain, and thus she would no longer be allowed to go anywhere near that patient. And I talked with the nurses, I talked with the nurse supervisor, even talked with my doctor about it.
Mhm.
And they was like, we know, we wish we could fire her, but we're not allowed to. The VA won't let us fire these people. And
Mhm.
there are so many of these people working at the VA who shouldn't be there. They're either incompetent or they commit active acts of malpractice, and we can't do nothing about it. Well, the Trump administration at the beginning of the year said, no more. If there's a complaint, they're causing pain, they're incompetent, they're causing malpractice, whatever, we're going to fire them. The day they announced that, a friend of mine called me up and says, dude, you aren't going to believe this. I'm like, oh, wow, this is awesome. Guess who else called me that day? My doctor. She's like, I hear you've been trying to reach me to set up an appointment. Can't we set the appointment up for next week?
Awesome.
And I'm sorry, I've put up with this for far too bloody long, and now I have the chance to get a new primary care physician, and guess what I'm going to do?
Get one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad.
And
Well done. You deserve
I'm
it.
sorry that was too much information, but that's what we've been dealing with at the VA.
I can believe it. It's not right, but I'm glad that you're finally starting to get a few changes here and there. And the only way they can do that is if people know about it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's great. But
Yeah,
this
Chris?
is
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
So
Chris,
when you call the veterans hotline, and like a spouse can do it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's directly linked to a nationwide, it's called the ECC system.
mhm.
We've actually found cases where a wife would call the police. He's trying to kill me. Is he a veteran? Yeah. Click you over to the veteran system. And it's the most cruel swatting shit ever, because we found where women did that to men and then had another man move into the house and stay there while he's locked up. Right. And then we also, okay, so I was part of the OIG investigation that went on from 2009 till 2013, where we found blacklisting going on. And literally the secretary of Obama's cabinet for VA had to be removed over his role in it. It's terrible.
What can I ask a question? What do you mean? You mean a wife didn't she just wanted his money or something so she would have him
Mm-hmm.
taken and
No,
maybe
she
do
wanted him in a
it.
lockdown so she could screw her boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
So
the same thing. Okay, during the Obama administration and the blacklist, that's one of the things that got both my dad and my uncle to die from Agent Orange poisoning, and because the bureaucrats refused to allow the doctors to treat them for the Agent Orange poisoning. And when they were when Dad was at the civilian hospital, they started treating him for his Agent Orange poisoning, and he started to show improvement. And as soon as he started showing improvement, the VA lost their ever loving shit and demanded that they transfer him to the nearest VA facility.
well, to finish what I was saying, once they get an ECC file on you and get an arrest and get you in the hospital for evaluation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's total bullshit. It's basically swatting. Like when you call a bunch of pizzas and send them to somebody's house and they're like, I didn't order fucking pizza, right?
Yeah,
I
when
mean,
the
there's
VA
all kind of
gets
way people do this, but here's the thing. Once they have that data on you, they can start a smear campaign
mm-hmm.
against you like you wouldn't believe. They actually have like a Nazi police force that can fucking follow certain veterans that get spotlighted.
Mm-hmm.
If you make death threats or do any crazy shit like that and get caught doing it on microphones, they can call you what's a hot target, and you get followed by military satellites. They want to know what you're up to. I mean,
Well, when they
I
put
would
you
say
in,
this around Fayetteville. I've listened to a lot you've said tonight about your experience, right? I mean, I don't have a primary care doctor. They're quitting left and right, you know, and I get all that. The last time I saw a VA doctor, I was literally on chemotherapy, and he had to go back to Pakistan because of COVID-19. But I have had all kind of trouble with the VA, but the biggest problem I have with the VA is a smear campaign, and no shit, it was run by another veteran. Another veteran started it, and I mean they did financial shit to me and all kind of stuff, and I'm like, whatever. I was just in court Monday over it, right? So I don't care what happens to them. I just want to move on. But I just want to talk to you about my journey. Like in 2007. I would wake up at night, man, and I went through mattresses. So finally, I got a rubber sheet. They're like, just get a rubber sheet. And I would wake up, and there'd be 2 inches of sweat puddle around my body on my mattress. And I started having seizures and some other shit. I'm like, God, well, you know, I was having physical PTSD. There's sort of two kinds of PTSDs. One, you know, if you've got good coping skills or whatever, you're just gonna fucking go through it, right? Some people, it blows their mind beyond all belief. It's like you can't get the videotapes out of your mind of some of the things that he was talking about, you know. And some of it's really really bad, but you can have the two different kinds. But a guy from 101st Airborne, his name was Walt, and this will touch on another topic you brought up. This was during the shit that was going on with the investigation. We had like 5,000 feds here in Augusta going over the records, right? So Walt's like, hey, man, come to bingo with me. Man, the first time I went over there with him, I couldn't drive because of the seizures. The first time I walked, he just lived a couple streets away, and then we walked in. So help me God, every time a car went by, I jumped 4 feet off the ground. I mean, I didn't realize how bad it was. But I started doing that with him. And then I got more involved with the VA and doing other stuff like that, where being around other veterans really helped me, not just because they could guide me down the right road and help me get the answers I needed, but they also understood, right? If it's like a woman trying to go talk to a man about her period, he ain't gonna fucking, you don't, right? But if, you know, if a man goes and talks to a veteran and he's a veteran, there's a click there, something happens, right? So then my mom and dad both got cancer, and I had to go to Nashville to to take care of them. I'm a ASCAP BMI producer, so I started going around and meeting people in music and was working in studios and having fun. But at the same time, I got involved in the VA community up there. I started doing drug court and working specifically with veterans. And I was helping out in AA shit and all kind of stuff from members at my VFW who were going to those things. And I was basically there trying to get my dad sober. He was a 2-star general, and we used to get a crowd around over all that. And a lot of them got well, So I would say that a lot of the things that you talk about, you can work through, but you got to go be around other veterans. And the other part of that is it's always bullshit. It's not 100% bullshit. It's 10,000% bullshit. And you learn where to kick doors in, right? If you're kicking the wrong door, you're not going to get the result you want. And in the VA, it's like a great big building of doors. They don't even put on the fucking door what it is, right? You go to your primary care clinic, they walk you to a door with no label. You don't know what the fuck's in there, right? Now, how do you navigate through something like that and really get to somebody who can help you? You got to go to the people that already work through the system. Now, let me just finish this about my friend Walt. Walt lived directly outside the gate of the VA, 2 streets from me. And my dad was the one who got the grants, wrote the grants to build that hospital when he was working for George Bush. And it's named after Charles Norwood. So this guy would go every day and go sit under the big awning going into the door where the Circle Drive was. And he would befriend people the same way he befriended me. But in the end, what we found out was he would always have $700 in his cash, and he would give people for their whatever the pain medicine they were getting and all that shit. And then they were selling it. So I'm like, God, I'm like a fed. I got to go talk to somebody. So I went over to the VA police and I talked to this chick in there, and she was, she's dark skinned. And I told her the whole thing. And you know what her response to me was? She said, well, he's allowed to do that. Well, that was the day that I called my father first off, and I'm like, Dad, you're not going to believe this shit, right? At the time, he was the chief of a staff of a VA. So I called him up and I was like, yo, dog. And he said, oh, fuck that. So he gives me this lady's name named Mary Anna Kopalski-Berg. And she was at VAOIG, and we opened that case. And then some local veterans found out that I was involved in it. Man, they started coming to my house and sitting on my couch and telling me stories like you wouldn't believe. And then it started looking like, damn, it doesn't look to me. They're trying to kill these people. They're trying to kill them. So I live in a town where I went to high school, college, and all this shit. I had people all over the VA. I'm like, man, just give me enough that I can take it to OIG. So they would download shit for me and print it and bring it to me. And sure enough, man, that's where the blacklisting thing. So I sent that up to Mary Anna Kopalski-Berg, she wasn't even working on that. She was working on just the drug problem. So that when you said in 2014, they're like, we're not doing opiates anymore. They found that shit in Seattle, Denver, Augusta here, in Atlanta. Every CONUS had this drug operation going on, and VA people were involved in it. And that was the end of fucking pain medicine at the VA.
And people like me have suffered ever since.
You have suffered miserably over that. But that's the way it is. It's always one or two fucked up people, man, ruin everything for everybody else.
Yeah.
And what tears me up is the fact that I still love my country. I'm still willing to die for this country. If President Trump, who can hear my voice right now, hears me saying this, saying, just give me a mission, a one-way ticket, let me die with honor, I'll take that mission and I'll do it. That's how much I love this country. That's how much I love its people. That's how much I believe in the ideals this country was founded on. And I'm still willing to do it. And it drives me nuts when I see people who just want to abuse the system. It's one of the reasons why I am so adamant about when you catch somebody committing voters fraud, try them for treason, stick them against the wall, and get rid of them. Toss them in a wood chipper. Make it as cruel as you possibly can, because that I'm sorry, that's
Let me interject a really sobering fact here, okay? If you're around a lot of veterans or a lot of active servicemen and you talk to them, and if you're open-minded and don't judge them right when you look at them, you find out that a lot of them will talk and agree with what the socialists say. There's multiple reasons for that. Number one, really, there's no greater socialist organization than the military. And look at the fucking money they lose, right? And the other part of that is we've been in Netherlands. We've been in Belgium and other places where before the Islamic invasion occurred, man, those were pretty cool places to be, you know? Like, hell, they had a lot of really good shit. I saw what was good and picked up on it. I talked to the local people. I drove an ambulance, and we had a civilian ambulance driver who would come drive with us sometimes. And he'd bring his civilian ambulance. If it was something big, we helped him. And you know, so I got a relationship with the guy. His name was Robert. He paid 52% taxes out of his check. But I mean, he gets a lot of shit for it, right? He said, for me, it's okay. He said, for the guy that we just picked up and put in this ambulance, he's not even getting half what I'm getting. Right. So that's where you get this levels of in socialism. There's the poor, you know, the derelict, whatever, the Bolsheviks, they call them, and back in Russia when they revolted and went to communism, and they just become, you know, just poor than hell, you know. That's why we have all these food programs, Jewish food programs and all, to take food over there, because they literally go out and dig roots up out of their yard to eat and shit. Now, I don't know how poor you've been, but I went through some military training where that was part of the training, was treating people like that. And you get awful fucking hungry pretty quick. And you'd be surprised what you'll eat.
Did you eat your worms with or without the eggs?
Yeah, I'll eat anything. I'll eat it.
One of our biggest
That's all
jokes,
I can say about that. I'll eat anything now.
one of our biggest jokes was never challenge somebody who's gone through SEER school to eat a bug or eat a worm, because they'll do it because they've done it in the past. And depending on which school you go to, they'll put the worm and the bugs in scrambled eggs to make it easier for you to eat it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're starving, you got to eat protein, and we're carnivorous, right? And we're the top of the food chain. Yeah. So if another animal is eating it, you can basically eat it. That's rule number one in survival. Find something alive and follow it, and whatever it eats, eat some of it. That's rule one.
Hi, Kelly.
Well, this next thing I wanted to bring up is, you know, a lot of people like to listen to what Elon has to say, but this is a little snippet I thought was pretty good, because he's talking about United States Congress. So here we go. It's not very long.
The federal government is not break even. It's literally losing $2 trillion a year, and it does not pass its audits. It fails its own audits. So, like, you know, there's a case where like I think Senator Collins was telling me about how she gave the Navy $12 billion for more submarines, got no extra submarines, and then held a hearing to say where'd the $12 billion go, and they were like, we don't know. That was it. I mean, basically stuff is so crazy. It's like only the federal government could get away with this level of waste of the
last time the last time the military passed an audit, I was still in the Navy, and that was back in like 93, 92, 93. And the Pentagon hasn't passed an audit. I think the last time they passed an audit was right before Operation Iraqi Freedom. I think. I cannot remember. I just know it's been a very, very, very long time ago. And I'm sorry, the way the laws are set up, it's the same way with the Federal Reserve. If the Secretary of the Treasury gets a wild hair up his butt, he is supposed to be able to walk into the Federal Reserve lobby and say, I want an audit. And they have to stop everything and audit right then and there. But we haven't seen one done.
I can't hear him. I can hear you. I can hear you, but I can't hear him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you going to have to leave and come back?
Well, I mean, I can hear you.
I was just saying. I was just saying that the.
We'll see if it clears up.
The Treasury is supposed to be able to audit the Fed at any time, and it's not been happening. They've also. It's the same way with the Pentagon. The Inspector General is supposed to be able to audit the Pentagon budget at any time, and we've not seen it been going on. Tell Chris I was just saying the fact that last time any audit of the military got done was back when I was still in the service.
Yeah, he was just saying that the only time an audit got done back when he was in the service was back when he was in the service in the military.
Oh yeah, the last thing I heard him say was he was talking about when the last past audit was. Yeah. I would venture to say it was 1946 or 47, and that one didn't pass, but it was the only one they had the balls to make public.
Well, I just wanted to play that whole thing with Elon and Doge is because Doge, the idea of Elon starting Doge in the first place was to start diving in. And remember, he got a lot of hate. He got a lot of his Tesla places attacked and stuff like that because these people don't want to give up their free shit. They don't want to give up their free shit, which is all given to them on the backs of us, the ones of us that actually have money taken out of our checks, money that we earned because we worked, whether it's your retirement or whatever it is, you paid to get it. And they want to take it and stop you from being able to stop them from taking their piece of it.
Look at all these chucklehead idiots that have all these useless college degrees.
What they did to Elon was wrong.
Sorry,
I went up. You can't hear me?
No, we can hear you, but you couldn't hear Richard when he was speaking.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right.
All right. Go ahead, Richard.
Repeat this. All the useless degrees that
all the useless degrees
that's being paid for with all the student loans that they're wanting to have the federal government pay off.
That's being paid for by all the student loans by the federal government. Go ahead.
Now, these are useless degrees.
Useless degrees.
That's gotten people to vote.
Yeah, I just saw a nice little chit chat between two people about that. About what Generation X and the millennials are experiencing and how they feel about it. It was pretty enlightening.
Yeah, this next thing I wanted to share is definitely about that, about our whole thing with our schools and where our money's going with that. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up is our federal Department of Indoctrination. So I want to play this for you. So listen to this.
Let's look at the Department of Education. The federal Department of Education has a budget of about $280 billion a year. Less than 25% goes to educating our students. So where does the other $220 billion go? It goes to a bureaucracy. It goes to a consultant, and that consultant then donates money back to the Democrats, and then it goes to a different consultant, and then it goes to an NGO. I mean, it is money laundering and money churning at its absolute best. And you can look at almost every single agency and you will find it. So the brilliance of Doge isn't that he's going in and cutting spending. He doesn't have the authority to do that. We're the ones that have the authority to do that. What I want him to do is come up with a report, go through agency by agency by agency, identify every single program that we should not be funding, put a number attached to it. We slap a preamble on the front of that report, and we say that every single agency is having their budget cut by X amount as shown in the attached report, and none of those programs can go forward from here on out.
And this is why Democrats are losing their minds over Elon Musk. It's all about money.
Not one Democrat in America voted for Elon Musk. Elon Musk is seizing the power that belongs to the American people. We are here to fight back.
That's why I wanted to play that little deal, because they hate the fact that we have people now that are trying to hold all these bureaucrats accountable for their actions. If they come out and they say, we want to start a program to give cheese to the homeless or whatever it is, and they say we're going to need this much money, $100 million or whatever, to be able to pay the cheese people, get the money and distribute it to the homeless. Okay. But then when after 1 year and they say, okay, you've already spent this much money, how many people did you feed? And they say, well, 10%. They're being forced to have to account for the money that they're spending. Okay. And I love it. I love that. And when Trump said at the beginning that he wants a transparent administration, and that's what he's doing. So if we can get the American people used to getting everything laid out on the table, like every executive order that he signed, he's got the press there in front of him. He talks to the people and he explains why he's signing it. And if there's a person there that helped write it, he brings them in and says, explain to them what this is, blah, blah, blah. He's trying to be as transparent as he possibly can. And I still have people bitching about it, But the thing
that's
is,
mainly because the news is not showing this.
Mm-hmm.
It's only they're cherry picking what they show.
Yeah, you had the news say, well, we're not even going to have his speech on because we got to make sure he's telling the truth. He's the goddamn president of the United States. I had to listen to Bill Clinton. I had to listen to Obama, and I had to listen to Biden every single time they got up there to flap their jaws. I expect to hear every president, if I want to listen to him, he should be on national news. He's our president. So to me, that kind of shit just pisses me off. And I'm sorry I said God's name in vain. I'm very sorry.
You know what struck me about that? The first time that I ever interacted with Mr. Musk, he was a left Democrat, right? Yep. Now, secondly, look at what's on the screen right there. I described this. This is a nationalist who is bilking money, bilking it off of what Elon was talking about. What's wrong with these people behind her? That's what I want to know. How can you not see that this person who she's saying, we the people, you're talking about you bureaucrat assholes that take this money and go buy shit in the islands, right? I mean, what is wrong with the people standing around her that don't have the common sense to go, I don't really get all that much money from you?
Because they're all getting the money. Okay, that's why. Look, I mean, I got something coming up here in a minute showing that all the people that do Antifa, do the riots and do the protesting and all that stuff, they're all connected. It's all the same groups of people that are paid to go here, there, and everywhere. And many times they were saying, hey, look, they're showing up in buses, or they all had the same signs, all the handwriting's the same, stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, all you got to do is get on Craigslist or Angie's List, and you can see that they hire people. They want big, bald men with tattoos. And it's a casting call, and they bring them in, they pay them all, and they walk around with signs, or they act like they're going to fight and beat up, other people, stuff like that. They're paid actors. That's why you hear Trump say central casting a lot. That's what he's talking about. And it's plain as the nose on your face if you pay attention. But see, when you're not watching the news, because you're just sick of their shit. You're not seeing that guy, man, I recognize that guy. He was the same guy at that other riot that was on the other side of the country,
Well,
that
remember
kind of
Sandy
shit.
Hook?
Well, how are they going to make their money when there's no reason to riot anymore?
That's what I'm saying. That's why they're pissed off.
Well,
'Cause we're
remember
cutting
Sandy
off their
Hook?
money. Mhm.
Okay, do you remember the shooting at Sandy Hook?
Yes.
We hope.
All right.
Hope.
One of the reasons why people were talking about the Sandy Hook shooting and crisis actors, one of the guys there was a crisis actor that was seen at a something that had happened, that was supposed to have happened, where they were doing training. And thus, that's where that all came from. Look at David Hogg. That chucklehead was a crisis actor. That
Big time.
was out in I think it was in California, where he showed up at one of these things as a crisis actor. Then the shooting at the school. He wasn't even at school when the shooting happened. He hopped on his bike and rode back to the school so he could be on camera going, "Oh!"
And he was already out of school then too, wasn't he? He was already graduated. So what was he doing hanging out at the school?
And this David, I mean, the whole crisis actor thing has been an issue for a while, which is one of the things that got Alex Jones in so much trouble. And
I'm gonna log out here since I can't do shit.
I'm sorry, dude, but it's driving me nuts whenever I see this stuff, because I know that people are not as online as often as I am. You know, being a cripple and you've got all this time to do this research. So I understand it, why people aren't able to do their own research. They've got lives. So I don't hold it against them. But I do hold it against them when you're showing them the evidence of what you're talking about and say, okay, this is what I have found out. This is what I have researched. I've spent days looking this up. And they roll their eyes and act like you made it all up. They won't look at what you have found. It's like these idiots that have such severe Trump derangement syndrome that they have allowed their irrational hatreds of this one man overwhelm their rational mind and their basic common human decency. And I mean, for the love of God, how the hell was Donald Trump able to get through that much armor and life support equipment to go from the sitting in the back of the beast and to grab the driver by the throat and go, "We're going back," on January the 6th? A statement that was made by somebody who was nowhere near the place. But yet all these people are going, "Oh, she knew what she was talking about." Just like the idiots that were sitting there saying that Trump called our honored dead from D-Day a bunch of chumps and losers. And it was proven to be lies. But yet there are still people to this day who believe those lies.
Yeah, we still have people that think they still believe in the PP dossier. So it doesn't matter how much evidence you lay out in front of some people. They don't want to see it because it's coming from the wrong person.
Yes.
If it was someone else that told them, they would believe it. Oh, you having to leave, Ruben?
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I'm just tired.
You have a blessed one, Ruben.
Yeah, I put my link in my private chat, my
Okay,
Substack.
I'll share it. Okay.
Yeah, you follow me on X too. It's the same thing at Ruben Haynes for X.
We'll keep you in our thoughts and our prayers, brother.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I just got a lot. Just tired.
Get some rest.
I have a lot to do to get to Texas, so I'll be talking.
Good night,
I shared it for you. Good night.
Good night.
That's Ruben's Substack, everybody. It's in the chat, and so please go check it out. It's got some awesome poetry, all kinds of information on there for you. So
Yes, Emperor 1G's right. Even if the evidence comes from somebody that they know, if it's not something that they want to hear, they'll ignore it. And that's true.
It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sad.
I've got
I
that
wish
with
I
one of
could
my
ignore stuff.
I've got that problem with one of my
I'm not
sisters.
capable.
We have a mental illness problem in America.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I want to play this next thing for you guys real quick. Here we go. I was going to explain everything, but I'll just play it. So here we go.
A nonprofit health policy research group finds that 9.2 million adults, that's nearly half of those enrolled in Obamacare Medicaid expansion program, do not even meet the federal requirements to qualify. How did this happen and how do we know? Connor Hansen live on Capitol Hill with more. Hi, Connor. Good morning.
Hi, Dana. Good morning. Well, this study says some of those people actually make too much money to qualify for this Medicaid expansion program, and others are getting these benefits even though they're here in the country illegally. Now, this study was put together by the Paragon Health Institute, which is run by a former advisor to President Trump. He's alleging widespread fraud here. He says more than 9 million people, as you mentioned, close to half of those using the Medicaid expansion program under Obamacare should not qualify. The report given to Fox Business ahead of a hearing here on Capitol Hill says pandemic-era policies supercharged the issue.
We compared Medicaid expansion enrollment by state to the total number of people who would be eligible for that coverage, have income below those thresholds by state, and found a massive problem.
According to the study, fraud in the program costs taxpayers $32 billion each year, and people who really do need regular Medicaid could be paying the price the most. The study says New York and California have some of the biggest problems, claiming up to 62% of people enrolled in California are not eligible, and the states might not even be incentivized to fix the issue.
California actually gets 9 times more funding for an expansion enrollee than a traditional enrollee. That is perverse. The federal government is effectively discriminating against the most vulnerable.
And Brian Blaze, who you just heard from, will be here on Capitol Hill tomorrow testifying to the Senate Budget Committee. He told me one of his recommendations will be to have stronger verification for anybody trying to enroll in Medicaid. Dana?
Sounds like something that's needed. Connor, thank you.
There you go. There's one of the reasons why it's so hard for our actual veterans and actual Americans, basically, to be able to get anything that they deserve to have because they worked their ass off to get it. And you having to put 5 more pieces of paper on a thing and fill out that or this or show more documentation is because of this kind of shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And all they do is bitch about it. But the thing is, it's once we get past this hurdle and we can stop these people and get them off of the money, hopefully they reorganize the stuff. The money will actually be a little easier for the actual people that have the right paperwork to be able to get what they deserve to have because they've already worked their ass off to get it. That's what I'm praying, that it's going to all be worth it after the fact. I'm sorry that it's so hard now, but I'm hoping that with this administration and they're able to get through it, that we're going to see some good changes for all of you people to be able to get what you deserve.
Sadly, with what's been
You know what?
going on,
My mind goes straight to on that.
I don't think he can hear you. You can't hear Richard again?
Again, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, man. Social Security is a Ponzi scheme, unfortunately, because the trust fund, they spent the trust fund by LBJ. That money's not there no more. And I can't remember who it was doing an expose on it and talking about how the Social Security is going to be insolvent because of the amount of people of the boomer generation that are now on it, and there's not enough younger people paying into it to keep it solvent.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I've heard that before a few times about Social Security. But what's really sad, all night long, as we've been listening to all these fraud stuff coming out, right? Mm-hmm. they're not saying millions. They're not saying millions. They're saying billions. I'm having a hard time to absorb that because I can't even imagine what it's like to have $1 million, you know, accessible to me, let alone billions of dollars. That, just like what Trump said way at the beginning, he said it's going to be, the fraud is so much that people are not going to be able to comprehend how much. And I'm getting there now. I'm starting to understand what he was saying. Sorry, my earphones keep falling off. Because I'm flabbergasted every single day. Every one of these things that I read and I share with you guys in the shit show chat, I'm shocked. I'm getting more and more shocked that the amount, and that's so far, it's only been New York, Minnesota, and California, and we're already in the billions. I mean, we got 50 states.
I think we're actually pushing close to over $1 trillion something that they're finding in fraud.
I can't believe it. It's shocking that we've let it get this bad, and we're just barely scratching the surface.
Yes, and that's the problem. Whenever you're dealing, sadly, I'm going to have to quote Joseph Stalin when he was talking about 1 or 2 deaths is a tragedy, but once you get to a certain number, it just becomes a statistic. That's the way the fraud has been treated by the federal government. It's built into the system. They're allowing for the fraud to exist by not going after it. And by them not going after it, it's just like we were saying before we got the show started. When you don't punish bad behavior, you get more of that bad behavior. And then when you start planning for the fraud to be there, you're going to get what? You're going to get that fraud. And that's where we're at. And the fact that the Trump administration has been trying to deal with this problem because he sees it for what it is. This is what's weakening the American people's faith in government. And the more you weaken the American people's faith in elections and government, the closer they get to a point to where they're going to decide, go pass out the cartridge boxes, go get the horses together, hook up Chippy. And that's all she wrote. And
you sound so much like Bruce when you say that. Every time we talk about Chippy, I'm like, God, Bruce says exactly the same thing.
Well, I'm sorry when it comes.
I understand because it's 100% truth. I mean, we are fed up. Well, people like us, people who are military families, people that somehow have different jobs working for the government, but they're not the fraud ones. They're the ones that actually work, for their paychecks and see the fraud on a daily basis. We're all sick of this shit. We're all wanting to see somebody go through and clean house, but we didn't realize how many roaches and rats and other debris was in the drawers of the closets. It's terrible.
I've seen a lot of people who were on the left that have been waking up to this stuff ever since Trump came out. And they've been, and the fact that Trump's been trying to deal with this stuff. And they were like going off on the TDS stuff. And I'm like, you do realize that Trump used to be a big time Democrat supporter, right? He bankrolled Jesse Jackson's presidential campaign. He was a major supporter of the Democrat Party. All because he now changed to an R after his name. The same people that loved him now hate him just for one little change. He's been saying the same thing today that he said in the 1980s, the 1990s, the aughts, and the 2010s. He has said the same thing, especially when it came to Iran not getting a nuke. He's been saying this nonstop. And I'm sorry, I remember watching Oprah Winfrey having him on her show talking about how she would vote for him in a heartbeat if he ran for president. And we see how things are going now.
Well, it's going to get better. We just have to hang on and keep fighting and trying to support him, because he is doing what he said he was going to do. And he's pretty much doing it by himself with a few people in his cabinet, because we don't have a Congress that feels the same way as he does, apparently.
Yep.
We can't even get him to pass the SAVE Act. And it's like I hear people say stuff like, well, he could make them do it and stuff like that. I go, do you know anything about how the government works? That's not how we work. If they do their job and they lay it on his desk, he will sign it and it will become a law. That's how it's supposed to go. And if they just sit on their ass and do nothing, then the clock is ticking, tick, 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 tick. I mean, look, it's already over 2 years in. And we don't even have all his judges in yet. That's how lame these people are.
Okay, the SAVE Act is sitting there waiting. All right.
Since February.
Yes.
It's been on Thing's desk.
The moment the midterm elections happen, and right before they swear in the new Congress, all the work that has been done to get the SAVE Act to where it's at now goes away, and they have to start from scratch. The moment the new Congress is sworn in. Now, there are some states that will have a lame duck resign after the midterm elections, and the newly incoming one will be she was appointed to the position so they can start building their seniority. And there is that, but it's just one of those things of all the crazy stuff that they're doing. I'll be right back.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to chime in before I go to the next thing, Chris? What we were just talking about?
No, because I can't hear a
I
word.
know. I'm so sorry. Could you hear him for a little bit when you came back?
No, I mean, I every now and then I get a little tiny sound. Sounds like a chicken scratching for breakfast.
I'm so sorry. I just don't know what to do about it. I don't know how to fix it. I put headphones in, trying to do like everybody else, just so that maybe it would get rid of the echo. So I'm doing the best, I don't know what else to do. I all of a sudden we have this problem, and I never had it before, so I don't know.
Well, I'll come back in. I'll go out and come back in.
Well, no, it's all right. He had to step away, so I want to go ahead and do this whole thing, play this real quick, and I want to get your comment on it. So hold on, make sure it's turned up. Here we go.
They were the same people you saw on the streets burning things in 2020. They then flip it around and they become the pro-Hamas protesters, and they flip it around, and within 48 hours of Maduro's arrest have pre-printed signs outside the courthouse demanding his release. And then they're out there doing the ICE stuff, attacking ICE agents. There's nothing organic about it. It is funded, it is organized, and Cuba is a part of that network, and in some cases, a critical part of that network. And it's a network they will weaponize against us. And they talk about it openly, about how they will use that network to pressure American policymakers, not just here in the United States like Code Pink, but all over the world.
Would you take a look at this? These are all the organizations that Marco Rubio is referencing that is organizing and funding the street protests and mass protests for all the different protests that we have taking place in America. And he says this even takes place all over the world. This includes 2020 protests, the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine, the pro-Maduro for Venezuela, the anti-ICE protests. These groups are the ones that are organizing and funding all those protests. It is coordinated, funded activism that goes across all these different protests. Here are some of the specific groups: Code Pink, People's Forum, and then we have a ton more groups here, but just to make it easier for you, I have it put in a bullet point list. So these are just some of the organizations that have been caught funding and organizing the street mass protests that we see in America, and there is a lot of them. And if you recognize some of these names like Code Pink, the People's Forum, of course, we have the Democrat Socialists of America. Party for Socialism and Liberation. Some of these names should be very familiar because if you look on Facebook, every time we have mass protests, they are posting with their signs, and now it makes total sense because they are the ones who are organizing and funding them. Like Marco Rubio says, none of this is organic. This is all highly funded and organized.
Which is really scary that so many people just go just suck it down, like yum yum, it's grandma's booby, whatever it is. They love it. They just eat this shit up. And the only thing I can think of that makes sense to me is if I'm a person and I live in my grandma's basement, okay, and I maybe I work one day a week doing something like delivering groceries or something, for somebody, I go buy it and I take it to their house and they pay me $150. So I make $150 a week and I live off grandma, right? Well, then these people say, hey, come do this and we'll pay $45 an hour or whatever it is that they do. And I get to go and stand and march around and act like I'm all hot. I'm, somebody needs me so bad or whatever. And I make all this money. Well, I can see why he would get mad that they're going to take his money away, because now he doesn't have that extra cash where he doesn't have to really do anything. He doesn't have to have a skill. He doesn't have to add, doesn't have to subtract. He doesn't have to read. He doesn't have to do anything but stand there and hold a sign and go, fuck you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And he's getting paid big bucks to do it. And he's probably getting hit on by all the blue-haired women. You know what I mean? So
whenever I hear anything about Cuba, think anything about Cuba,
yeah,
I always start at the first really shocking thing that I ever learned about Cuba, because I used to collect Civil War stuff and all of that. And I got this patch and it said Confederate States of the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
I gave that patch to a friend of mine who died in Helene up in the mountains of North Carolina. And I wish I would have gotten it back. It was very rare. But Cuba was listed on that. So after the Civil War is over, the mob's down there and they got casinos and they're running a capitalistic thing. And it's the mob, right? They're the mob. Those were the same mob people who were working New Orleans who orchestrated the death of John F. Kennedy. Right? Well, think about that's also the Cuba where Russia sent missiles and Kennedy had to make the decision to turn them around. Right? And so then they're like, well, no, fuck you, man. You don't control us. Then there's the revolt and Castro becomes a socialist communist type leader down there. Right? So when you think about what he was saying about how they got the huge intelligence operations they run out of there linked back to mafia influence, which had them in and out of America working like that after they were no longer considered one of the Confederate States of America. Somehow that got lost out at the end of the Civil War. So a lot of people aren't aware of a lot of history that really, really matters. But Cuba and America, Jesus Christ. So during during the Oliver North thing, right? There was a couple of places that me and the guy I was working with for Oliver North used to have to go pick up cocaine in Miami. And we would go down there and literally it was Cuban. Nobody spoke a word of English. But when we pulled up to these like 12-story hotels where the dope was, there'd be 12 guys out there with machine guns right there in Miami. It's like ain't no cop going nowhere near that, and I know CIA ops are going on and other shit like that. And I know that they're not going to be looking too heavy at things, but that was in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s that I was doing that. So yeah, my experience with Cuba is they don't give a fuck. They think that they're as much a part of America as we do. And they got the same thing we do. They have a conservative wing and they have a leftist wing. And it sort of goes back that they've redefined global politics into either you're a populist for the liberty of people or you're a nationalist who wants the government to control your whole life. Now, the World Economic Forum and all these other global agencies want the nationalists because what they're striving for is one currency, right? One set of rules. And basically, they've been getting away with it for it's a long time. They've been getting away with it now. And the populists are really just waking up to the reality of what's going on. And they're starting to stand up here and there. You know, I'm interested. I can't wait for the election to pass, the midterms. I want to see what happens. I don't think people are as much buying into it as some certain media people would like you to believe. And then you have certain people in the Republican Party that they're afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it because we're a free country and we can elect whoever we want. And the people in the end, in the United States of America, in the end, the people get what they want. Right? They had that Hillary was going to be our president. And the people said, no, she's not. Right? They thought they had that shit fixed like they fixed the 2020 election. They just upped the ante for 2020 and threw in a biological weapon. Right?
Yeah, that's why I'm excited. I'm really interested in finding out exactly how many people really did vote for Trump. I mean, at least it's closer than what we have right
it's gonna
now.
shock people.
I don't think it's going to shock me because the overwhelming amount of people that I know voted for him over Hillary proved to me that, you know, she's just a witch. Nobody wanted to vote for her. I don't care if you're a woman or not, you know, but I know I didn't vote for her. I mean, there's no way I would have voted for her. I mean, I wanted Ben Carson, you know, from the beginning, but as time went by and, you know, the things started moving around, I realized that he just wasn't, I don't think he could have done what Trump's doing. You know, I really don't.
I was originally a Ted Cruz guy.
You were a Ted Cruz guy? Yeah. So a lot of people like Ted Cruz. I mean, I like Marco Rubio a lot. I could see him and JD kicking some booty, you know, if they step in and finish what we started right now. And then Trump would be an advisor or whatever. They'd be calling him whenever they wanted. I'm sure he would be willing to help them out. But because they already in deep. And they already know, just like, and I think they've done a great job. I have been really impressed by Rubio and by JD Vance's jobs that they've been doing. Because you got to remember, JD is the one that's in charge of all this fraud stuff, trying to make sure that all these people are doing their part to and reporting back.
You've seen all the AI JD Vance memes.
Yes, tons of them.
Now, please, Lord, hear my prayer. Let the people of the future believe that was truly JD Vance for real. Let the future believe that these JD Vance AI memes was reality. Let the future believe them as reality. Please.
Yeah, some of them are really, really funny. You know, the ones with the big giant cheeks and the fancy poufon hairdos and whatever else. But you know what? I'm loving the fact, like the Marco Rubio made a couple of comments. I wish I had those videos tonight, but I don't. Of him sitting on the couch, and he talked about how if he doesn't have the cushion that's just right to sit behind his back, he kind of sinks down in there. And he looks so depressed and sad. And I mean, look at him.
Yeah,
he's famous.
It says Mark Rubio just found out he's now the president of Iran.
Yeah, I know.
Mark Rubio now found out he's the Pope.
I know all these different things, and it's just hilarious. But you know, and JD's the same way with all those videos of him, the fake AI videos of him singing, dancing, doing all this different stuff, and Trump. They've all been champs putting up with it.
My favorite one's when he drinks the hot dog water. They fly him into Iran to drop him off into the Straits of Hormuz to fix the Straits of Hormuz. They're like, "Oh my God, the missiles are coming. What are we gonna do?" "Don't worry." Flips the switch. "Go get him, Mr. Vice President." And then and he goes running out, jumps out, and all the missiles hit him. Then he hits the water, and he opens his eyes, looks around, and there's all of the sea mines, and he just claps them and blows them all up. Then he's walking through the desert. Then he goes and beats up all the Iranian soldiers.
I know it's hilarious, but they're handling it in such they just make me proud because they're laughing and they're just joking about it, and because that's all it is. It's they're infamous now. I mean, honestly, I could see after they're all out of office later on going to Comic-Cons and stuff and autographing all these memes for all the people like us that think they're great, they're funny, and I could see them doing it. I could even see Trump right now and them right now. If you were able to go meet them at a fundraiser or whatever, they would autograph a picture of you printed out, of one of those memes. I guarantee they would.
Well,
that's the
JD,
kind of personalities they have.
Remember, for Halloween, JD dressed up as him from the memes with the wig, the pink socks, white shoes, the whole 9 yards.
I think it's awesome, and it just shows you that they're kicking ass and taking names, but they're also still living their lives, their real lives, with their wives and their families, and going home with their dogs and doing all the same things because they know what they're doing is righteous. They're doing the right thing, and they're doing it the best they can with what they have available to them.
Remember when they were South Park was doing the TDS crap? There was like, and
yes,
Chrissy Dome, she used her South Park caricature as her Twitter X avatar. JD Vance did the same thing. They were all using this stuff, and the guys that created South Park going, they do realize we're making fun of them, right? And when asked about it, they said, yes, but we have sense of humor. We're not pussies.
I know. I love that. I think it's great. But that just shows you what kind of people they are. You know, like me, I laugh at myself a lot. I do lots of dumb shit. I mean, half the time I can't even get my computer to do what I want it to do. It just does whatever it wants. And I just have to live with it, and go with the flow. Like right tonight, with all the echoing and everybody's got earplugs and stuff in. It's like, I don't know. I have no idea because, I'm not a computer genius. I'm just
it's got something
a mom.
to do. It's got something to do with the latest update that StreamYards did, because the exact same thing's been happening with my friend Crazy Horse and Alice's shows that they do, and they don't know what's
right.
causing
I was
it.
on that one. And there was echoes that night. That's right. And they do use StreamYard just like me. So,
and so do I. And it has shown up sometimes on my live streams, which really aggravate the bejesus out of me.
Well, but the thing is, we just have to do the best we can with what we have, and hopefully it'll all work out. But I wanted to share this one thing because I think it's important. If I can remember which one it is, just give me a second.
Can Chris hear me now?
Can you hear him?
Yeah, I got you back up.
Yeah, he left too.
Here's what the echo is. If the microphone at the receiving end of a discussion goes on and it plays out of the speakers, if it's okay, there's condenser mics, and then there's dynamic mics. Dynamic mics will drown out every sound but the loudest one. A condenser mic is meant to pick up more sound. So if you're depending on what kind of mic you have. So I'm using an iPad and I'm not using iPhones, but these are built for this exact same thing. So if you're playing your what you're listening to ever on speakers, it's highly likely you'll get that effect, especially if you're using a condenser mic.
Well, the thing is, I'm using this same stuff, same microphone, same camera, same computer. Everything is exactly the same. I haven't changed anything. Nothing's new. And all of a sudden I'm having problems. So I don't, and I haven't pushed any buttons or changed anything that I know of.
Well, I know that day that we were testing it, and I was just I think it was our first one of these. when I got Discord working on my new equipment, and I tried to throw it up on my 90-inch screen so I could see. You know, this is really hard for me. Everything's a blur, and I got to blow up everything. So, but
Yeah, I know. I'm really sorry.
that day, the echo was so horrible. Do you remember? I mean,
Yeah.
it was really
And
bad
that's what I'm
that day.
saying. I don't have a clue what it is, and it's hard to fix something. And I've even Googled it and asked, what's this? And it gives me like 20 different things. So I'm trying everything, but I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I wanted to bring this up because we talked about this earlier. I'm going to make it a little bit, I don't know how to zoom in. Damn it. I suck at that. This gentleman posted this and I wanted to read it because it's not a video. It just says, I'm putting this on the record right now. If you take the new mRNA flu shot that was just approved by the corrupt FDA, you may not only die, but before that happens, you'll be shedding alien protein toxins all over the people around you, like a walking vaccine fallout, bioweapons factory. You may actually end up killing others, not just yourself. Don't turn yourself into a depopulation weapon for the FDA. That's what they want. And that's why they want a 60% to 70% flu shot uptake rate so they can make sure that almost everyone is saturated with the shedding toxins. They call it herd immunity, but it's actually a culling of the herd. I read that and I was shocked by it, but I'm not shocked where I'm gonna think it's fake, because when people were getting the vaccine from the COVID, I remember my allergy doctor asked me if I knew anyone or if anyone in my home that lived with me had gotten the vaccine. I said no, and he said, I go, why though? And he said, because if you're around, you don't need to be around anybody who's had the vaccine in the last 3 months. And I was like, because of what? And he said that they're shedding. And that shedding could get on you and cause you to have some kind of problem, whatever, that we don't know of yet, because we don't know what's in it. So I can't tell you what kind of reaction you'll have, or any of my patients, because you all are allergic to different things. But I also wanted to read this post under here, this comment this person wrote under it. It says, you're asking too much if you expect people to start thinking. I listened to my gut when COVID hit. I knew it was a weaponized version of the flu and the massive rollout, advertising, etc. of this crap. It's going to end us all. That was the hill I was going to die upon, honestly. So a lot of people are really thinking about this whole thing, with this whole thing being accepted by the FDA, especially when I thought it was illegal to do that whole thing. We were talking about that earlier, right, Chris?
Yeah.
It wasn't weren't you the one that told me that that was illegal for them to use that?
Well, they did do that, but now they're making it in Ukraine and Hong Kong and being funded by American business interests. So because international business laws aren't really well put together to manage that, that's how we've run into a problem. But I promise you we're working on it.
Well, I'm hoping, because now I'm afraid to, what am I going to do? How am I going to go grocery shopping and stuff like that? I guess I'll have to just look and find out what times a day is the least amount of people shopping.
You can still use the egg-based. I mean, I don't know if you can because you have allergy issues.
Well, I love eggs. I love eggs. I eat eggs.
Okay, so yeah, so for the 20th century, flu vaccine was always given to egg white. Mm-hmm. And then they put a big scare up that people were dying from egg, because they wanted to switch to something new. So they switched to something new, and now they've got this mRNA technology, and they want to use that. Right? The problem with the mRNA technology is the structuring of the mRNA that they put into you, because it is not human mRNA. It is manufactured from proteins and organized as human DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And that's supposedly so it can be universally used across humans. I mean, if you transplant a hand on somebody, or give them a leg or whatever, man, that your body can get it. You'll just die. It's like, oh, this DNA doesn't work with mine.
Yeah, I
Well,
know
that's
it.
based. Yeah, so they're injecting us with that, right? Think about the chromosomes, right? In a pregnancy, you got a zygotes, and they get together, and there's two 23s. So what they're putting into you, this mRNA structure, it goes through a process inside the cell where it is divided, and then half of it is used with another one, and that's how the mRNA replicates inside the cell. Well, all of this occurs in the mitochondria and in the Krebs cycle. That's what produces P4, which is the energy source of human life. Like if you take cyanide, what cyanide does is it goes directly to your cell and it stops that production, and you only have to go a short time without P4 and you are DONE done, right? You start foaming at the mouth and all this shit. And all of that is going on in a molecular level in your blood, where the mitochondria and the Krebs cycle and the ACE2 inhibitors and all that kind of stuff is. So, it's not good. We know it's not good. We've known it's not good for a really long time. They've manipulated the agencies to do this, as that video, Dr. Martin. They did it for money. They created a biological weapon, and then they did all this. Everyone seems to forget that Bill Gates ran a mock pandemic right before the pandemic happened. And
should I play that video? You want me to play that video? Okay,
Bill
I'm gonna pull it
Gates
up.
is the one who gave the money to Moderna. Okay, so in 2016, Gates gave them 16 million, and what they did was they designed the mRNA strands that I'm talking about synthetically. And then in 2019, in February, he gave them another 55 million, and they started making the vaccines. And this guy literally says right here, they got a copy of that thing from China and created those vaccines. They knew good and well what they were doing. This was an attempt to take down the West and create a global government that was run out of the UN, which today is 85% Islamic countries. Sorry, but that's what happened.
Okay, well, I'm going to play this video. I think it was this was a conference in Brussels, okay? And this is Dr. Martin, and I've seen him speak 5 or 6 times before about the same exact stuff. But this one is way more detailed and more gives you way more information than some of the other ones I've already seen. But he lays it out so well. So I'm going to go ahead and play it for everybody. And I'll share the link in the chat for everyone who wants it.
They downloaded a sequence from China and filed a patent on it in the United States. Any of you familiar with biological and chemical weapons treaties knows that's a violation. That's a crime. That's not an innocent oops. That's a crime. And the United States Patent Office went as far as to reject that patent application on 2 occasions until the CDC decided to bribe the Patent Office to override the patent examiner to ultimately issue the patent in 2007 on SARS coronavirus. But let's not let that get away from us, because it turns out that the RT-PCR, which was the test that we allegedly were going to use to identify the risks associated with coronavirus, was actually identified as a bioterrorism threat by me in the European Union sponsored events in 2002 and 2003, 20 years ago. That happened here in Brussels and across Europe. In 2005, this particular pathogen was specifically labeled as a bioterrorism and bioweapon platform technology. Described as such. That's not my terminology that I'm applying to it. It was actually described as a bioweapons platform technology in 2005. And from 2005 onwards, it was actually a biowarfare enabling agent, its official classification from 2005 forward. I don't know if that sounds like public health to you. Does it? Biological warfare enabling technology. That feels like not public health. That feels like not medicine. That feels like a weapon designed to take out humanity. That's what it feels like. And it feels like that because that's exactly what it is. We have been lured into believing that EcoHealth Alliance and DARPA and all of these organizations are what we should be pointing to. But we've been specifically requested to ignore the facts that over $10 billion have been funneled through black operations through the check of Anthony Fauci and a side-by-side ledger where NIAID has a balance sheet and next to it is a biodefense balance sheet equivalent dollar for dollar matching that no one in the media talks about. And it's been going on since 2005. Our gain-of-function moratorium, the moratorium that was supposed to freeze any efforts to do gain-of-function research. Conveniently, in the fall of 2014, the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill received a letter from NIAID saying that while the gain-of-function moratorium on coronavirus in vivo should be suspended, because their grants had already been funded, they received an exemption. Did you hear what I just said? A biological weapons lab facility at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, received an exemption from the gain-of-function moratorium so that by 2016, we could publish the journal article that said, SARS coronavirus is poised for human emergence in 2016. And 2016. What, you might ask, Dave, was the coronavirus poised for human emergence? It was IV1, Wuhan Institute of Virology Virus 1, poised for human emergence in 2016 at the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, such that by the time we get to 2017 and 2018, the following phrase entered into common parlance among the community. There is going to be an accidental or intentional release of a respiratory pathogen. The operative word, obviously, in that phrase, the word release. Does that sound like leak? Does that sound like a bat and a pangolin went into a bar in the Wuhan market and hung out and had sex and lo and behold, we got SARS-CoV-2? No. Accidental or intentional release of a respiratory pathogen was the terminology used, and 4 times in April of 2019, 7 months before the allegation of patient number 1, 4 patent applications of Moderna were modified to include the term accidental or intentional release of a respiratory pathogen as the justification for making a vaccine for a thing that did not exist.
The deep state.
Yeah, they know exactly what they're doing.
If you have not
like
done
I said,
so, please make sure that you make reference in every investigation to the premeditation nature of this, because it was in September of 2019 that the world was informed that we were going to have an accidental or intentional release of a respiratory pathogen so that by September 2020, there would be a worldwide acceptance of a universal vaccine template. That's their words right in front of you on the screen. The intent was to get the world to accept a universal vaccine template, and the intent was to use coronavirus to get there. And the last slide. This isn't advancing, so if I could have somebody do it. Let's read this because we have to read this into the record everywhere I go. Until an infectious disease crisis is very real, present, and at the emergency threshold that is often largely ignored. To sustain the funding base beyond the crisis, he said, we need to increase the public understanding for the need for medical countermeasures such as a pan-influenza or pan-coronavirus vaccine. A key driver is the media, and the economics will follow the hype. We need to use that hype to our advantage to get to the real issues. Investors will respond if they see profit at the end of the process. Sounds like public health? Sounds like the best of humanity? No, ladies and gentlemen, this was premeditated domestic terrorism stated at the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in 2015, published in front of them. This is an act of biological and chemical warfare perpetrated on the human race, and it was admitted to in writing that this was a financial heist and a financial fraud. Investors will follow if they see profit at the end of the process. Let me conclude by making 5 very brief recommendations. The last slide. Nature was hijacked. This whole story started in 1965 when we decided to hijack a natural model and decide to start manipulating it. Science was hijacked when the only questions that could be asked were questions authorized under the patent protection of the CDC, the FDA, the NIH, and their equivalent organizations around the world. We didn't have independent science. We had hijacked science. And unfortunately, there was no moral oversight in violation of all of the codes that we stand for. There was no independent, financially disinterested, independent review board ever impaneled around coronavirus. Not once. Not once. Not since 1965. We do not have a single independent IRB ever impaneled around coronavirus. So morality was suspended for medical countermeasures. And ultimately, humanity was lost because we decided to allow it to happen. Our job today is to say, no more gain-of-function research, period. No more weaponization of nature, period. And most importantly, no more corporate patronage of science for their own self-interest unless they assume 100% product liability for every injury and every death that they maintain. Thank you very much.
100%. Had you heard that before, Richard?
Some of it, but not from him.
Yeah. Okay. Now I've heard most of this from him in different sections and at different places where he went to speak.
My training
really
is
good at it.
My training as a CBR warfare specialist. This is stuff that I already knew. So a lot of this I'd already heard.
Yeah.
And about, especially when it comes to biological weaponry and the gain of function stuff, was all originally they started the gain of function to be able to come up with to be able to automatically have a counter for a biological weapon in the future. Which I was always sitting there scratching my head going, wait, let me get this straight. We're making biological weapons now so we can counter biological weapons coming up. But what happens to the biological weapons we're making now? That's the question.
Well, I remember the first time I ever got interested in any of this is when I first started doing this stuff. I watched a speech by Kennedy, okay, and he was going on talking about MK Ultra. That's what he was talking. That's what the discussion was on, because I was doing some other research for some other stuff with trafficking, and the MK Ultra stuff came up. So I watched his video, but at the end of his thing, he started talking about Tricky Dicky, what's his name? Richard Nixon. Okay. And that Richard Nixon had told his people with Fauci and a few others when they were, really young and stuff, that group of people, that we didn't need, well, maybe it wasn't Fauci, but that group of people, the scientific people, we don't need bioweapons anymore. We have nukes. So I want you to take all these things, this was during his presidency, and destroy them. We don't need them anymore, but some of the people were saying, well, we can kill people for, $3 a person, basically, with this virus or this, biological weapons, instead of spending all that money on nuclear warheads and stuff. This was their point of view on it. And so they gathered up everything and they moved to another country with it, out of the country, like Ukraine and China and some other places, so that they could do the same thing. And then they found other means to fund those things because they couldn't get it from the government anymore legally.
Well,
Because
the whole thing with all
Mhm.
right, chemical and biological weapons are the poor man's nuke.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper to produce and easier to produce if you've got a decent chemist out there to make your chemical weapons.
Mhm.
It's the poor man can have the same effect as a nuclear weapon with these things. Problem is a biological weapon. A biological weapon can get out of hand like that.
Mhm.
Just look at Ebola, AIDS. These things are diseases that can easily get out of hand and go way past where they were supposed to only be. We saw that with the spread of COVID. We saw it with how AIDS spread like wildfire back in the late 70s and 80s,
Mhm.
which falls back into Fauci and that worthless piece of junk that he is.
Yeah.
He is why it got out of hand. Because at that point in time, if it would have gotten out that this was the only ways to have spread it was intravenous drug use, blood transfusions, and unprotected anal intercourse,
Mhm.
it could have been kept from spreading.
Mhm.
People that were doing these things would go, "Ooh, I shouldn't be doing it this way," and it could have put a dampener on it.
Mhm.
The only good thing that came out of that was they started testing blood whenever you donated blood to make sure that this stuff wasn't getting into the blood supply. And yes, the
Mhm.
Dallas Buyers Club, Miss Janet talks about that every time we bring up Fauci and that the piece of shit that some bitch is.
Yep.
And well, like I said, Hardwick, this is something Trump has been harping on since the 80s about keeping nukes out of the hands of the Iranians because he understood what a 12er is. And yes, we should be just as concerned about them getting their hands on bioweapons as nukes because take it from me, a bioweapon in the hands of somebody who wants to bring about chaos, to bring about the end of times, if I was going to be doing it, that's what I would be using.
Well, remember in the Revelations, it talks about plagues.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, and we know for a fact that these people that read the Quran also know a lot about the Old Testament because we in our own Bible we share like a similar ancestor with through Ishmael and Abraham. So, you know, anyone that knows any of this stuff in the Bible, they understand why all of that is important. That I don't think anyone should be able to get a bioweapon or make a bioweapon. And if you're caught with it, you should go to jail for it. I mean, didn't they just arrest some people in California or was it Las Vegas that had a whole bio lab going on in their apartment or something with a whole bunches of shit? I'm like, Jesus, how'd they get it? Now, I hate to say it, but they probably bought it from one of these nutcases that have been doing all this stuff, sneaking around,
Well,
helping Fauci and a few others.
like it or not, there is a black market for these extremely dangerous diseases.
Mhm.
They touched on this on a episode of Law and Order. Not special victims, the major case squad with Gorin in them.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a group of people out there who collect diseases. And this is something that they've known about for a very long time, and they've been trying to track track it all down. And for the longest time, people thought that it wasn't polio, but smallpox. Smallpox had been wiped out. That there was only a very few samples of smallpox left in the world. Until somebody's house up in their attic, they found a sack that had like 5 or 6 vials of smallpox. It was just in their attic. Okay. If one of those vials had gotten, do you know how many people would be dead right now? That wherever that would have been ground zero, and there would have been so many dead people. It's not even funny.
Well, who found it? Who found it? In their attic.
It was, I think, the great grandkids or something like that was cleaning out the attic, and they found this stuff, and they didn't know what it was, and they called the police to come and take a look at it.
Do y'all remember Jim Jones?
Yeah.
Him and his Flavor Aid.
Yeah, so in the mid 80s, people I was around because of my dad, military shit, other stuff I was doing. They couldn't say details, but they said, man, we got some new shit, man, that it blows up in the atmosphere and it kills everybody and their bodies deteriorate and wipe out. And all you got to do is go clean up skeletons. And it never dawned on me that what they were talking about was exploding bioweapons and draining them down. Now we got these motherfuckers flying around and they're spraying shit all over the place. And I'm telling you right now, that's a Jim Jones fucking game. They're going to put some shit in there, man, that fucks people up. Let me remind you.
Yeah, and now we have drones. They have drones they can do. And those people in Iran and everything all use drones all the time.
If you never went to the Georgia Guidestones before it got struck by lightning and destroyed.
It wasn't struck by lightning. Somebody blew it the fuck up.
Oh, no, I've seen the video of it. There was a weather camera over there and it got struck by lightning. There's no doubt. But I'm in Georgia.
God did it.
I go up there and I look at this fucking thing and it said, depopulate the world to 5 million people, 500 million people. Right? So what do you want to do that? You don't want to blow up all your cities and all this other shit, right? You just want to kill the people and then have an easy cleanup. So that thing had multiple languages and telling people what to do when this whole catastrophe came down and all of this shit. Let me tell you something. I took that shit serious as hell when I read it. And I've been on a mission ever since. I'll tell you this one thing, man. And I know this probably sounds weird, but I'm in the kitchen with my mom up in Tennessee. And this was years ago, maybe mid 90s. And me and my dad would get into it about Soros and Bosnia and fucking Honduras. We were talking about everything in the living room and fuck her, whatever. We're talking this business. And one day my dad got up and went to go somewhere in the back and she comes over. She goes, Chris, you just need to let go of all of that stuff. And I looked at my mom and I said, do you hear the shit we're talking about? I'm like, nobody talks about this, and this is the reality of the world. I said, sometimes I feel like I was put here to save the world because nobody gives a shit. This was like 35 years ago. And I had already been assigned to follow George Soros in every transaction he ever did, where he went and all this shit. And the whole time I'm screaming, what the fuck, man, aren't y'all paying attention to George Soros for, right?
Yeah.
I've been doing this 30 years, like hearing Dr. Martin right there, telling it from the top, because I've been screaming from the bottom. And my dad was a suit. He wore stars, and an outfit, went to an office. I'm one of them fucking people. If I would have died, they'd have put a star with no name on it in a building, and that's just he fucking died. Who? Him. Right? That's where pronouns work, in that fucking doorway where you go and it's like, who died? Well, him, her. That's about it. Not they, them, nothing. One star, him or her. Right? I mean, shit. This is my whole life. And we're talking about this shit, and we're people are finally beginning to talk about this, and they have no clue how really far this has gone, because there are places that have fallen. London fell. The UK fell. You hear? I mean, we're not talking maybe it happened. There's been revolutions in Nigeria, Uganda, West Africa, South Africa. There's genocide in South Africa and Zimbabwe, where they go out to white rural farmers and they slaughter their whole family and just take their shit. This is going on today in the world.
And they're using, and the weapons
Yeah, I've
and stuff
seen
that
some
they're
of that.
using to make sure that the white farmers can't communicate out. They're using military grade hardware that blocks cell phones and satellite phones and radios. And it's one of the reasons why there's been a move from a lot of these. The white farmers are teaching the black people that come in and work on their farms how to do the job, how to be farmers, and keep telling them, look, you've got to put stuff back so you can have it for the next time you plant, and things of this nature. And they're having a harder time with that, but they're also withdrawing to areas of South Africa where they can all be together to protect each other's backs instead of being isolated. It's one of the reasons I've got a friend of mine, Shrubby, who's in Australia, and Australia actually offered a lot of the white South African farmers because a place to go, because, well, at the time, Australia was needing farmers so horribly bad it wasn't even funny. You're like, hey, we need farmers. They want to find a new place to live. Let's let them come. And of course, their progressive lefty lunatics lost their shit of, why are you allowing those racist Afrikaners to come here? And it just blows my mind that people actually have this thought in their head that only white people can be racist. And I have said this many a times. Hatred is like a pile of shit. You have a pile of shit, a bag of shit, and a box of shit. What's the difference between it? Nothing but the container. Hate is the same way. Racism is the same way. Racism doesn't care what color your skin is. Racism and sexism doesn't care what genitalia you have or wish you had or you want somebody else to have so you can get jiggy with them. Hate is hate. It doesn't matter the container. That hate is going to burn you up. Hatred destroys the hater, not the hated.
Here's everything I need to know about racism. Out of the human genome, 1% out of 100% is what makes our skeletons, right?
Mm-hmm.
All our skeletons are identical. But this thing, the fingerprints and the ears and all that shit, 1% out of 100% goes to that. And of that, less than 1% of that 10% goes to melanin and skin color.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, for a number that begins with 0 point something of our DNA, the world has been at war with itself for the existence of mankind. And that is so fucking stupid, it's unbelievable.
It is stupid. But well, you guys, I'm really getting tired. I'm really exhausted. I've been up since 4:30 this morning.
Yeah,
So,
we're
bragging or complaining?
No, I'm complaining. And plus, my chickens and ducks are going to get me up early. But I just want to say thank you, both you guys, so much for hanging out with me tonight and helping me with the, shit show. Really appreciate it. And Do you
Anytime
guys
you
want
want
to
me.
say anything before I hang up?
Well, Miss Janet, anytime you want me, just shoot me a message, and if I am able to be here, I will be here.
Okay, well, I'll just keep
I
doing what
like
I'm doing
hanging
then.
out. I like hanging out and talking with you and Chris and Mr. Rupert, and I like talking with the people that's in the chat. And I look at it that when we have these conversations, I am hoping we're educating each other and we're educating the people who are watching it, making people ask questions. That's all I care about. Go look it up yourself. Don't take my word for it. Go look it up. It's the most important part of our day is looking things up. If you don't learn something new every day, your day was worthless. You didn't do nothing. You have to learn something every day. That's how you keep this thing going. That's how you keep this body of yours going, is by learning and by adapting and overcoming whatever is in the way. That's coming from a broken cripple. If a broken cripple who's in super amounts of pain can keep going, you ain't got no reason not to. Go learn something new every day. Make your life better. Be the positive change you want to see in the world.
Damn
Love
right.
people, man.
Damn right.
I've said this before. I wish you could see yourselves through my eyes. Because every one of you, when I see you, I see potential. I see something wonderful, something worth more than me. And I want to keep you safe. I want you to live to your fullest extent, to be everything you wish you can be. That's how much I love y'all.
Well, I appreciate it. But
Well,
I
thanks
love
as
all of you
always,
guys.
Janet. You know what? It kind of hit me about somewhere in the earlier part of this show, maybe an hour in.
Yeah.
So I used to love. I mean, I told you I was in the entertainment business. Sometimes playing in the band, but I did played records a lot because I worked as a DJ at James Brown's radio station. That was my first job ever with James Brown, was his radio station. So after these like nightclubs closed and all this shit, I always loved to go hang out right in my kitchen around the table. You know, we probably took a bottle of liquor with us or whatever, but we'd have these really cool conversations like that. And I really got that feel of that in this show today. And I really see, you know, how important it is that it made me really think, God dang, you know, why ain't I hanging out and talking to people at my kitchen table? I'm a food nut. I love to make shit. I make my own cheesecakes and all kind of shit, you know, and I cook exotic food from all countries.
I love cheesecake.
Man, I love cooking. I mean, there's only me. I've got a 40-year-old that lives in another house on this property, and he comes and eats a lot, but I don't go out. I can't
If you
remember the
want,
last time I went in a fast food place.
if you want, I can give you a recipe for pork bellies. It's going to make your mouth water. And oh my God, it's good. I make it every other day. It's been a staple for me is pork belly.
Yeah, I like Korean and Japanese pork belly, man. Some of those are off the
Mhm.
chain. Yeah.
I just make beef jerky.
Hey, one of
Put 'em
these
right
days,
there.
you're going to have to show me how to do that.
I
Because
will. I gotta make it for Christmas again because that's what I mailed all the guys that I game with. I made it, and I have a vacuum sealer and everything. So,
Well, thanks again, Janet, and everything Spake said. I second it. So
Okay,
we can
well,
have a vote. I think we all say aye.
yeah. Well, I just want to say, I pray for our country, pray for the world, and just keep fighting for the truth to come out. It's coming out little by little, and hopefully we'll still be around when we see some people being held accountable. That's what I'm
Well,
hoping.
since we're asking for prayers, I'm going to say this. Please pray for Perez Hilton. He's been this year he found God and he has been dealing with a lot of really painful stuff. He had a really bad meltdown and was hurting himself.
Mm-hmm.
So please pray for Paris Hilton that he can get the help that he needs. He's got, I think, 3 little children under the age of 14. So please, if you find it in your heart, he actually went out of his way to apologize to the people who he has hurt over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So please pray for him. This is something that I was going to be talking about for Fireside Chat this week, and I didn't get to do it because of health problems. So please just keep him in your thoughts and your prayers. Pray that God gives him the strength that he needs to get through what he's going through right now. And pray for his little ones.
Okay, and I just wanted to let Hardwick know, yes, I do teriyaki. This is my favorite. That's what I do, teriyaki. It's the best one I like, because I don't like the real peppery kind. If it's too peppery, I don't like it. So I'm real picky. So that's what I make. But thank you, everyone, and God bless America.
Calling me your color, baby.